Chapter 1030. Yihua said faintly, "I'll let you enjoy the might of meteor fall first." However, just now the silver moon slash had also touched the falling star. The terrifying power directly cut the falling star from the middle, but the speed was too fast, causing it to look intact with the naked eye. The gigantic meteor crashed down, and the entire mountain peak was instantly razed to the ground. Soon after, the ground started trembling, and countless avalanches occurred, and a gigantic crater appeared in front of Yihua's eyes. Yihua was muddle-headed just now. His weapon was indeed formidable, but his person was just so. Therefore, by using his speed and strength, he would be able to easily obtain victory. He was also frightened by that weapon. What a loss of face. The terrifying energy of the explosion swept through the entire mountain range. Yihua was very curious whether or not this supreme overlord would be able to withstand the explosion. Horrifying shockwaves swept through the surroundings, and just when Yihua was feeling curious about what was going on, an anomaly occurred. The airwaves that were sweeping in all directions just now seemed to be absorbed by someone. It could be seen with the naked eye that all the power of the explosion was concentrated on a single point. Yihua's brows tightened. In an instant, that terrifying energy just now was actually attacking him. This was the first time that Yihua had come across this kind of weapon, and it was even able to absorb the energy after an explosion. This weapon is really a bit abnormal. If he were to use it on himself, he would definitely be invincible. Spirit Concealment Shield. Yihua called out gravely. An indistinct shield could be seen appearing around Yihua's body, and the surging energy directly crashed onto the shield. When Yihua sensed the different types of energy attacks, he felt that they were a bit interesting. Do not get distracted during battle. The same words rang out beside Yihua's ears. No matter what, this heaven and earth shaking was an honorable supreme being. His speed was nothing to scoff at. Sensing the signal of death coming from behind him, Yihua did not dare to be careless, and his body immediately disappeared. Right after shocking heaven and earth's parting fire slashed onto Yihua's afterimage, an immense pain came from his back. Bang! Jing Tian was blasted down once more, his body like a cannonball as he smashed through a series of mountains. Yihua stood in the air and stretched his neck. This was the difference in strength. There's no helping it. I want to keep a low profile, but my strength doesn't allow me to. Even if you create a weapon that can kill me, so what? You can't even cut my body. Unless I stand still and let you chop me. But that was impossible. I'm going to kill you. Jing Tiandi charged again with Li Fire in his hand. However, this time, Yihua discovered that the Li Fire saber had changed a bit. Some kind of mark had appeared on the saber's body. From the looks of it, some kind of effect has been triggered. But it was useless. Because you are still too weak. Immediately, a pair of boxing gloves condensed in Yihua's hands. This was the cyan and red boxing gloves. The left side of the boxing gloves was green, and the right side was red. Both of the boxing gloves represented different personalities. Of course, it was also a primordial divine artifact. If you have the guts, then don't dodge. Jing Tian seemed to have understood a principle, that is Yihua's strength. It was probably above him. Do you think that I am an idiot? Yihua's body disappeared once again. After that, his entire body was once again blasted down by Yihua, and another series of mountains toppled over. Yihua stood at his original position and did not move. If you come, I will continue to fight, it will be fun. Thus, the scene became like this. Jing Tian is going to be abused by Yihua to the point where he can't even take care of himself. He had an invincible weapon, but he couldn't hit his opponent. If he were to be hit by me, he would definitely die. After a long while, Jing Tian became in a very sorry state. His breathing became hurried, and there was even a trace of blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. In actuality, Yihua didn't attack ruthlessly. If not, with the help of the Li Fire, Jing Tian would definitely die. It is useless to continue fighting. How about we have a chat? Yihua said faintly. This person still has some use. I can't let him die yet. Jing Tian was also aware of the difference between him and Yihua. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't understand how Yihua was able to reach such a level. Yihua actually reached such a level. This is simply something that is impossible. This time, The emperor even asked me to kill Yihua. How is it possible for me to do that? It is evident that Yihua held back just now. For Jing Tian to be able to think like this, he was also aware of his own limitations. Since that is the case, Jing Tian didn't plan to continue fighting, and he kept his Li fire. Although Yihua was jealous of this weapon, he didn't plan to snatch it away, because what is living within this weapon is his wife's soul. Thinking about how I am holding on to his wife, I want to F***ck, so disgusting, I don't have any desire at all. Facts have proven that a person's strength is far better than a weapon. Yihua said faintly. Very pretentious. It was only because Yihua had won that he was able to say such words. If he had lost, Hearing what Yihua said, Jing Tian didn't say anything, because what Yihua said indeed made sense. The two's bodies disappeared once again, and they returned back to the headquarters. At this time, Wergod and Biyue were waiting bitterly. Suddenly, they saw their father returning. And that man! When Wergod saw his father's downtrodden appearance, and the opponent's spotless robe, he became stupefied. This result wasn't hard to guess. My father was completely defeated. How is this possible? My father is a supreme overlord. He is an existence that can pinch an overlord to death with a single hand. How is it possible for my father to lose to such a handsome person? Wergod, you leave first. Jing Tian said gravely. Jing Tian took a look at his father, then said respectfully, Yes, father. After finished speaking, Jing Tian left with Biyue. Sit. Jing Tian sat cross-legged, and Yihua casually sat down and lit a stick of cigarette. Speak. What is your purpose for coming here this time? Jing Tian asked curiously. Yihua let out a breath, then said faintly, You have also seen it just now. If I wanted to exterminate your 5 million soldiers, it would be. Yihua stretched out his right hand and snapped his fingers. This means that if I want to kill you all, it would be just a matter of snapping my fingers. If it was before, Jing Tian would definitely feel that Yihua was acting cool. However, after the battle just now, he didn't even know how strong Yihua was. Just take that starfall for example. If that starfall landed on the top of my camp, I reckon that my entire camp would be exterminated. I am not trying to scare you. I have actually killed a lot of people, and I don't care about these things. It's just that there are some things that are meaningless if I do it like this. What do you think? Jing Tian lightly let out a breath, then said helplessly, How do you want me to cooperate with you? Hearing that Jing Tian compromised, Yihua was quite happy in his heart. This meant that his plan was still progressing normally, and there were no mistakes. Actually, it isn't difficult, it is just a show. But I want supreme. And Jing Tian didn't finish speaking. And what? Yihua asked curiously. Your life and Yi Yuanqing's life. Yihua's brows wrinkled, then after pondering for a while, he asked gravely. Who asked you to do this? It's already 5 a.m., and I have all kinds of requests. End of this chapter. Chapter 1031. Since I have already been defeated by you, I will just say it directly. This war was originally a conspiracy between two emperors. My emperor wants to get rid of me, and your emperor wants to get rid of you and Yi Yuanqing. It is just that simple. Jing Tian said gravely. Emperors are truly scum. After hearing what Jing Tian said, Yihua went into a daze for a moment, then laughed lightly. Good fellow. This Huang Feidy sure gives me surprises frequently. Since that's the case, I should return a surprise to you as well. I don't think that you will fulfill your promise, right? Yihua asked faintly. A supreme overlord who even has a heaven-defying weapon in his hands. You said that you want to die, but why don't I believe you? If it was possible, Jing Tian didn't want to fulfill his promise, but in order to save his wife, he had no choice but to do so. Actually, your wife is just missing a type of soul. I can help you find it. Yihua said lightly. This can be counted as giving Jing Tian a benefit. It isn't hard to find a soul, and as long as it is complete, Jing Tian will be able to return to normal. Jing Tian didn't understand and asked confusedly. Back then, I killed you, so why are you still helping me? Yihua picked up the teacup and took a sip. If you didn't kill me back then, perhaps I wouldn't have my current achievements. In fact, I should be thanking you for killing me back then. This wasn't a sarcastic remark. Yihua indeed thought that way. Back then, how the Yihua died and who killed him had nothing to do with me. In fact, I should be thanking the Yihua. But now that the Yihua is here to provoke me, I'm sorry. When enemies meet, I can only use blood to baptize them. Jing Tian laughed. I didn't expect that the person I killed back then would actually torture me like a dog thousands of years later. If this matter were to be spread out, I would be a joke. Thank you very much. Jing Tian thanked sincerely. To be able to save my wife, this is a benefactor. Yihua said faintly. There are a lot of things that you have to thank me for. Actually, a person like you shouldn't just be a duke. An emperor is more suitable, don't you think so? After hearing what Yihua said, Jing Tian didn't say anything and remained silent. A duke who doesn't want to be an emperor isn't a good duke. Even your emperor wants to kill you, so what are you still hesitating for? Yihua persuaded unhurriedly. Actually, he didn't have any purpose, he just wanted to experience the feeling of persuading others. It seemed that the Supreme Overlord's IQ was very high. Right now you have 5 million soldiers in your hands, and it is very easy for you to rebel. However, you are still lacking an excuse. After all, everyone wants to sit on the throne in an open and above-board manner, and not seize power. Yihua was also aware of this point. Even if one were to do something bad, one must still find a proper excuse. Therefore, I am able to create such an opportunity for you. With a strange smile on his face, Yihua appeared to be very, very bad. Needless to say, Jing Tian was a little tempted. If there was a legitimate reason, then he could really do it. It was very clear that as long as the opponent wasn't Yihua, then the opponent would basically be an invincible existence. What do you want? Jing Tian asked curiously. Yihua asked back. Do you think that in this world, is there anything that I want? I just think that it would be more fun for you to be the emperor. The point is, do you want it or not? I'll give you some time to think about it. Let's discuss the attack in 3 days. Jing Tian nodded. Then the two of them exchanged their opinions. Yihua expressed that, since I am able to help you deal with your wife's illness, then there is no need for you to fight with me over the title of unparalleled. Of course, even if I am going to put on a show, I still have to put on a show. Those who are supposed to die also have to continue to die, because this is to save more people, and their deaths are glorious and great. Jing Tian naturally knew that if Yihua didn't come tonight, who knows how many people would have to die. After hearing Yihua's plan, Jing Tian inwardly exclaimed in his heart, Since you have said so much, I also have something that I want to tell you. Jing Tian planned to tell Yihua about the painting. Yihua was someone who liked surprises and accidents, and thus he immediately became interested. Tell me about it. Jing Tian flipped his palm, and a painting appeared on his palm. Soon after, Jing Tian opened the painting. Looking at the words on the painting, Yihua felt that the words on the painting were very similar to my calligraphy. What is this? This is another kind of celestial phenomenon that will appear when unparalleled appears. I don't know what it is, but what I am sure of is that this celestial phenomenon is even more precious than unparalleled. Jing Tian said excitedly. What Jing Tian liked the most was collecting materials and whatnot. And this legendary weapon creation was something that he bought by chance. After hearing what Jing Tian said, Yihua felt that it was feasible. Alright, let's see what it is when the time comes. The good stuff will belong to you. Jing Tian was still very happy in his heart. The super good stuff will belong to me. Jing Tian. Do you understand the words at the back? Jing Tian asked curiously. Yihua took a look at the words. If I say that I don't understand the words, wouldn't I lose a lot of face? Of course. Yihua said gravely. What are they talking about? Jing Tian hurriedly asked. Just where did this Yihua go for 1,000 years, for him to actually be so formidable? Yihua directly made up a story. It is a bit long-winded, but the rough idea is that something very formidable will appear, and it is telling you to be careful. Is that so? Jing Tian was very puzzled. Isn't this a bit too simple? Yihua directly changed the topic. How are you thinking about becoming an emperor? I can. Jing Tian said gravely. Yihua liked this kind of feeling. Humans are always unable to resist temptation. And if they are able to resist temptation, then it would definitely be because the temptation isn't strong enough. Yihua revealed out a strange smile, then disappeared from where he was. Big brother. Right after Yihua returned, he heard Yi Yuanqing's voice. This is a voice of concern, and it sounds very comfortable. You still haven't rested? Yihua said faintly. Big brother, where did you go just now? Are you injured? Yi Yuanqing hurriedly checked on Yihua. Right now, there is only a single weapon that is able to injure me. Yihua said faintly. This legendary weapon is very formidable. I like it. Yi Yuanqing said snappily. Big brother, can you stop joking around? Quickly go and rest. I have just finished discussing with the enemy's commander. When the time comes, we will just have to put on an act. You can go and distribute the soldiers. Those who rush at the front will definitely be sending themselves to death. Yihua said faintly. This can also be counted as a sort of explanation, right? If you want to blame someone, then blame the emperor. This is the method that they use to eliminate dissidents. Hearing what his big brother said, Yi Yuanqing felt very uncomfortable. These are the soldiers that I am leading. Is there really no other way to deal with them? I know what you are thinking, but in actuality, this entire matter is a scheme of the two emperors. Huang Feidi wants the two of us to die, and the enemy's emperor wants the commander to die. It is just that simple, do you understand? What his big brother said was simply like a clap of thunder exploding in Yi Yuanqing's mind. How is this possible? Chapter 1032. Such a large-scale war was actually arranged by the two emperors. This is simply infuriating. How could they bear to do this? It turns out that Big Brother also didn't want too many innocent people to die. That's why he took the risk to go and negotiate. Big Brother is really strong. Suddenly, Yi Yuanqing hugged onto Yihua. This immediately caused Yihua to be dumbfounded. Yuanqing, we are brother and sister, we can't have incest. Yihua patted onto Yi Yuanqing's back and said softly. Yi Yuanqing didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he punched onto his big brother. Annoying. I am just glad that I have such a big brother, that's all. Yihua could only use laughter to cover up his awkwardness. I will make the arrangements. Yi Yuanqing knew that this was already the best result. After all, without Big Brother, everyone would have died. Yihua nodded his head, and Yi Yuanqing left. Not long after Yi Yuanqing left, Yihua went out again. Furthermore, the more he went, as if he was seducing someone. Of course, Yihua was seducing someone. It was impossible for the emperor not to send someone to kill him. Walking to a tree, Yihua began peeing. In the quiet night, a sizzling sound rang out. It seems like recently, Yihua was a bit on fire. After knowing that he had a family, he didn't do it with Qingya and the others anymore. It would be weird if he wasn't on fire. Do you people like to peek at other people peeing? Yihua raised his head and said faintly. Soon after, he shook his pee and kept it. The surrounding was still quiet. Yihua said while walking. If you want to kill me, you are actually in more danger than me. A slight fluctuation was produced in the air. The fluctuation was very slight, but Yihua had already sensed it. If a person is stupid, they will die. Young man, don't be impulsive. Yihua continued. You are not afraid of me? A voice rang out in the air. I am afraid of you? You are thinking too much. Yihua grabbed towards the air, and a terrifying aura locked the air. A purple iron chain instantly condensed out, and on the chain, there was even an abnormal flame. Firmament ghost fire. Before Jackdaw could even react, it was already trapped by Yihua. Moreover, Yihua had even bound it with the strange fire version of Asia. Jackdaw's body appeared, and he looked at Yihua in astonishment. The firmament ghost fire on Yihua's body made him feel very uncomfortable. Of course, this was only because Yihua hadn't activated his strange fire. Otherwise, he'd already be dead. Yihua turned his head and looked towards this unfamiliar man, then said faintly, As a supreme overlord, you actually became the assassin of the emperor. You truly lack brains. Who the hell are you? It's impossible for Yihua to be as formidable as you. Jackdaw was now certain that this wasn't the Yihua of the past. No one could become this strong in just 1,000 years. Yihua let out a light sigh. Being ignorant isn't your fault. How much potential a person can have depends on whether or not that person is willing to put in the effort. A person who is not willing to put in the effort will not be able to get anything in return. 1,000 years of time is more than enough for a person to change. Impossible. Impossible, growled Jackdaw. This was complete nonsense. Even a storyteller wouldn't do something like this. Do you know how cruel the emperor you serve is? I'm not swearing allegiance. I'm just repaying a debt of gratitude, said Jackdaw bluntly. This caused Yi Hua to be a bit confused. Repaying a debt of gratitude? If you're only staying by the emperor's side to repay a debt of gratitude, then it seems that you won't be able to leave. Wrong. His Majesty said that after this matter is over, I will be able to leave. Do you believe him? Yi Hua laughed lightly. Although he had only met this emperor once, he knew that he was definitely a cruel character. To be more accurate, those who were able to become emperors were all cruel characters. What, you don't believe me? Then do you still believe that this war is actually a ploy by two emperors? Impossible, said Jackdaw without even thinking. Huang Feiди would sometimes use methods, but he wouldn't be cruel to this extent. Why is it impossible? Don't think that things are too optimistic. Huang Feidi won't let you off. However, I might be able to help you. Yi Hua began tempting others again. Recently, I've been enjoying the feeling of tempting others. As long as I successfully tempt someone, I would feel a sense of accomplishment. No need. Then, it seems that I can only let you die, Yi Hua said gravely. Then, the metal chains that were made of abnormal fire began to tighten, and the abnormal fire began to burn even more intensely. This caused Jackdaw to feel suffocated. I've never seen such a strange person before. I don't need your help. Yet you still insist on entering the stronghold. I've never seen such a tyrannical person before. Don't struggle pointlessly. What future do you have by staying by the emperor's side? You should be doing what you're supposed to do, not becoming an assassin and helping the emperor get rid of dissidents. The freedom that you want, I can help you. Yi Hua used freedom to tempt Jackdaw. In everyone's heart, freedom was the source of temptation. Grasping on to this point, Jackdaw would then focus on nurturing himself. Freedom. Understand. Jackdaw indeed wanted freedom, and he also longed for freedom. However, he still had to abide by the promise he made back then, and help Huang Feidi. Why should I believe you? You have no other choice. I've said too much just now, and you've heard too much. That's why I can only kill you. Feeling the abnormal fire's corrosion, Jackdaw's entire body felt uncomfortable. He even felt that if this continued, he would die. Jackdaw didn't have an abnormal fire of his own, so he didn't have this opportunity. He was just unlucky. The burning of his soul caused Jackdaw to feel indescribable pain. He could only say, "All right, I believe you. Young man, you need to be tactful. I'm helping you, understand?" Yi Hua said calmly. The plan was still going on without any deviation. With a wave of his hand, the Asian binding around Jackdaw's body disappeared. "What do you want me to do?" Jackdaw asked in a low voice. Yi Hua smiled. "Actually nothing much. Just continue with your work. Do whatever you're supposed to do." "Then why are you helping me?" People often say that I'm a good person, so I might as well do something good." Yi Hua lightly flicked his sleeves, appearing very manly. Jackdaw couldn't understand this Lord Yi. Just what is he trying to do? Yi Hua didn't want to waste any more time with Jackdaw. He said calmly, "I'll forget about you trying to assassinate me today. But don't forget, if I want to kill you, I can do it with a flick of my finger. It's very easy and very casual." With that, Yi Hua disappeared on the spot. Jackdaw stood there alone, a dumbfounded expression on his face. Even the emperor didn't dare to threaten him like this, but today he was threatened. Ever since he became a supreme overlord, no one dared to threaten him. But today he was actually threatened by his target. Just what has Yi Hua been doing all these years? He's actually this powerful. He's not a match at all. Too terrifying. Chapter 1033. Jackdaw had a lingering fear in his heart. At the same time, he witnessed the power of an abnormal flame. It would be great if he had an abnormal flame too. Unfortunately, he didn't. As a supreme overlord, he didn't even have an abnormal flame. Jackdaw had obtained peerless, and through a stroke of luck, he'd become a supreme. Everyone else, on the other hand, leveled up honestly. However, to become a supreme overlord, an abnormal flame was needed. That was why almost all supreme overlords had an abnormal flame. Jackdaw was faced with two choices. First, report this matter to the emperor. Yihua was very strong right now. Moreover, he already knows that you're working together with the emperor of Shanghai. Second, choose to trust Yihua and obtain freedom. Jackdaw felt that the second option was more reliable. If Yihua wanted to kill him, he would have done it already. As for the first option, the emperor wouldn't easily forgive him. So he chose the second option and hoped that his choice was correct. In front of absolute power, it was impossible not to lower your head. At this time, Yihua arrived at the abyss. There were souls everywhere. These souls were quite precious outside, but inside the abyss, they were very common. They were like stones on the side of the street. Looking at the red magma, black rocks, and countless wailing souls, Yihua casually grabbed. A female soul was obtained. The soul seemed to be very afraid of Yihua, and was trembling. Yihua felt that this soul was quite obedient. It's decided then. I'll take her. Since I've promised someone, I'll definitely do it. After grabbing the soul, Yihua slowly closed his eyes and looked for the coordinates. Then he directly appeared in the sky above Shanghai. Looking at the huge city in front of him, Yihua felt that it was no different from Spirit City. It seemed very prosperous. I thought Shanghai would be like purgatory, but it turned out to be like this. I'm a bit disappointed. Since it was already late at night, there were fewer people on the streets. There were only a few drunkards walking around, and a few brothel girls waving their hands to attract customers. Yihua didn't think too much. He directly went to the biggest mansion in the city. This should be the one. When he arrived at a garden, he saw a few maids taking care of a mentally disabled woman. This woman looked like a child. She ran around the garden without resting. The surrounding maids were suffering unspeakably. Yihua waved his hand, and all of the maids fainted. As for that middle-aged woman, she paused for a moment, then continued to play with the maids and did not have any reaction at all. Go. Yihua loosened his hand, and the soul took a look at Yihua with a puzzled look in its eyes. However, the soul still flew towards the woman without any hesitation. For the woman, she had a soul, and for the soul, she had a physical body. They were both complementary states. Yihua stood at the side and watched. The woman's body suddenly trembled, then fainted. A dazzling white light emitted out from Yihua's hand and enveloped the middle-aged woman. Not long later, the middle-aged woman and the middle-aged woman completely fused together. Why am I here? The middle-aged woman shook her head and sat up. After that, she looked at Yihua and wrinkled her brows. You? Who are you? Why are you in my house? Yihua smoked his cigarette and looked at the night sky. I promised your husband that I would cure you. Just as the woman was about to say something, her memories suddenly surged forth, and she finally knew how she had been living for so many years. After a while, the woman bowed towards Yihua and said, "Thank you." Right now, Yihua seemed to like this sentence a lot. The feeling of being thanked by someone isn't bad. Yihua responded, then reminded, "Something big is going to happen soon. It's best for you to continue pretending to be sick, understand?" "All right. I understand, you can be at ease." Yihua was very satisfied with the attitude of this middle-aged woman. This is a sensible woman. I, the Supreme Overlord, hate those who are not sensible the most, those who still bother me every day, just like that Qian Yuqing, who is not sensible at all. In the future, you will be the Empress. A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth, then disappeared from the garden, leaving behind the middle-aged woman who had a look of surprise on her face. Empress? Did this man just say that I am going to be the Empress? How is this possible? Could it be that my husband is going to? Thinking up to here, the middle-aged woman began to worry. My husband, you better not mess around. Yihua had quite a lot of things to do tonight, and right now there was still one last stop. And that was Shanghai's Imperial Palace, to kill a person. Who is it? Of course, it's Shanghai's emperor. If this emperor doesn't die, how will he be able to ascend to the throne? Shanghai's imperial palace was rather unique. It was built on top of a mountain, and this was the symbol of royalty. Not bad, not bad, what a good idea. If Yi Hua was to judge, Shanghai's imperial palace was a bit more unique than Lingdu's imperial palace. Yi Hua directly arrived at the emperor's bedroom. Of course, he had to wear a mask. After all, he was here to kill someone, not here to chat. However, after Yi Hua arrived, he felt a bit awkward, because the emperor seemed to be in the middle of mating. Hearing this kind of sound, Yi Hua couldn't help but miss Qingya and the empress. I, the supreme overlord, seem to have been abstinent for a very long time. After I finish what I need to do, I will go back and have a good rest. Yi Hua sat at the side and waited quietly. After all, this is a person who is going to die soon, so I should just let the emperor enjoy himself for the last time. If not, the emperor will say that I am unreasonable, and even interrupted the emperor's mating. While smoking the cigarette, Yi Hua waited silently. Time passed bit by bit, and there were quite a few cigarette butts beneath Yi Hua's feet. However, the sound that was beside Yi Hua's ears was still continuing. This caused Yi Hua to be very unhappy. My beloved concubine, what smell do you smell? Yi Hua heard the emperor's question. Seems like the emperor smelled the smell of my cigarette. Your Majesty, this is the smell of manliness that you are emitting out. A sweet voice could be heard, and goosebumps could be seen all over Yi Hua's body. Wait a moment, I will stand up and take a look. Your Majesty, hurry up then, I still want more. Little vixen, I will satisfy you later. Yi Hua shook his head. You are the first person who has made me wait for you. You deserve to die. The emperor saw that there was actually a green smoke pervading the roof, and it felt as if there was a fire. However, this smell doesn't seem to be the smell of a fire. This smell is so unpleasant. If one smells too much of it, one's lifespan will definitely be shortened. However, very quickly, the emperor saw Yi Hua's figure, and his eyes revealed out in astonishment. Yi Hua threw the cigarette butt that was in his hand onto the ground and stepped on it, then stood up. You are the emperor of this place, right? Who are you? How did you come in? Is this poisonous smoke? Jing Zhentian questioned coldly. I feel that the other party is releasing poison into this place. Damn it. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Poisonous smoke, is it? These are all lonely smoke. Don't talk nonsense. If I say that it is poisonous smoke, then it is poisonous smoke. Yi Hua felt that this emperor was a fake. Compared to Emperor Fei, this emperor is a bit weak. End of this chapter. Chapter 1034. Alright, I will do whatever you say. Now, I want you to die. You want to kill me? Then I am very curious about your motive for killing me. Jing Zhentian asked gravely. I feel that this man is very strong. Yi Hua took out another cigarette and lit it. If you die, there will naturally be someone who wants to replace you. Huh. So, you want to snatch my throne? Then, let's see if you have the strength to do so. Before Jing Zhentian could finish speaking, he felt that his throat was being strangled, and his entire body was lifted up. Yi Hua breathed out a mouthful of smoke. I don't need to prove my strength to you. Your death will help others. Wait. I can give you anything you want. If there is anything, let's discuss it again. Jing Zhentian hurriedly said. I don't seem to be his opponent. I don't even know how he attacked just now. Furthermore, my strength is completely sealed. When did he seal my strength? Didn't you just say it? It's the throne. Yi Hua said faintly. It was as if he was playing house. Alright, I will give it to you. I will give it to you. No, I am not interested in your throne. It is others who are interested. Yi Hua flicked the cigarette ash, and the ash fell onto the exquisite floor. The emperor was in despair. Is there any difference? Yi Hua can't even remember how long it has been since he last killed someone. If I didn't guess wrongly, I have already forgotten about it. A suffocating feeling reverberated in Jing Zhentian's mind. He slapped the air with his hands, and his legs were powerless. Don't kill me. I will give you anything. I will listen to everything you say. Jing Zhentian shouted out powerlessly. Yi Hua sighed lightly. This is the most cowardly emperor that I have ever seen. He really admits defeat just because he doesn't agree with me. He can't even bring me any surprise at all. This is so boring. Thus, Yi Hua snapped his fingers, and Jing Zhentian's head could be seen turning 380 degrees. Then Jing Zhentian slowly landed on the floor. Not long later, a golden primordial spirit that was panicking and wanted to run away. Yihua took one last puff and flicked the cigarette butt in his hand. The cigarette butt landed accurately on the primordial spirit, and the primordial spirit instantly started burning. And soon after, it turned into dust. Yihua let out a breath. Actually, killing this emperor isn't to give Jing Zhentian an excuse to come back. Instead, they would first let others fight for it, and then when heaven and earth came back, they would be able to easily seize the throne. Strength and military power would be in their hands, and if these idiots were not afraid of death, they could give it a try. After finishing everything, Yihua went back to sleep. It has been a long time since I did something like this. In the past, he had always left it to his underlings to do. From the looks of it, I will have to hand over this kind of small matter to my underlings in the future. If not, why would I, the Supreme Overlord, accept so many underlings? Keep it for fun. The concubine on the bed waited for a long time, but the emperor did not return, so she put on a thin silk dress. That arrogant body was indeed very alluring. Emperor? Where are you? Emperor? Come on, stop playing, Your Majesty. When the concubine saw the emperor who had just made love with her, her eyes were filled with shock. The emperor had actually fallen. Great terror spread through the concubine's heart. She clutched her head and let out a world-shaking scream. This scream quickly attracted the attention of the imperial guards. When the imperial guards saw that the emperor had passed away, they were all shocked. Then the entire palace was in chaos. Before long, the entire Shanghai was filled with the ringing of bells. Dong, dong, dong. Shanghai's emperor had passed away. This kind of news immediately spread among the influential officials. However, inside Heaven and Earth's military camp, Heaven and Earth didn't sleep at all, because there were too many things that he had to consider right now, and he didn't know what Yihua was going to do. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have agreed to Yihua's words. How could it be that easy to be an emperor? Father, you haven't slept yet? Martial God carried a wine pot and walked over. It was evident that he was planning to drink a few cups with his father. Heaven and Earth didn't teach his son a lesson. Pour. Okay, father. Heaven and Earth raised the wine cup and clinked it with his son. The father and son drank the wine in one gulp. Father, just what is going on? Martial God still didn't know what was going on, and he expressed that he was very worried. Heaven and Earth said gravely, Martial God, this man is very strong. Your mother can be saved this time, and we have also come to an agreement on the war this time. We will try our best to avoid losses. Really, father? That's great. Martial God was overjoyed. Originally, he felt that this was too impulsive, and he didn't expect that the other party would really cooperate with him. Heaven and Earth smiled. This is indeed good news. Martial God, in the future, don't let Buf follow you to the army. She is a man, understand? Martial God scratched the back of his head, and with a slightly immature expression he said, Father, Bua is staying in my tent. You brat. You brought a woman out to fight a war. I am going to break your legs. Father, this time Bua was worried about me, and that's why she followed me out. Martial God explained, making it seem as if he couldn't live without a woman. Heaven and Earth nodded his head. With so many people mobilized, anyone would be worried. Martial God, Father has something to ask you, and you have to answer Father seriously. Seeing that his father's expression was so serious, Martial God immediately sat in front of his father and said respectfully, Father, please speak. Do you want to become the crown prince? Martial God was immediately stupefied. Your head. Lower your voice. Heaven and Earth directly slapped onto his son's head. This idiot is still making a fuss over nothing. How can I not make a fuss over nothing? This is a plot to usurp the throne. Even Martial God was stupefied. Report. A soldier suddenly ran in anxiously. Heaven and Earth stood up and asked gravely, What is it that you are making a fuss over nothing? Report. Report to the general. Shanghai sent a letter. His Majesty he passed away. Heaven and Earth's eyes widened. Just a moment ago, he was still reprimanding others for making a fuss over nothing, and now it is his turn. Martial God who was behind heaven and earth was also stupefied. The emperor died? Just a moment ago, we were still talking about the plot to usurp the throne. And in the blink of an eye, you are telling me that the emperor died. Heaven and earth didn't expect that it would be so fast. Fast to the point that I don't even have a plan. This Yihua is truly fast, formidable. Truly formidable. Just do it. Alright, I understand, you can leave now. Heaven and earth said gravely, carrying with him endless sorrow. However, right after the soldier left, everything returned to normal. Right now, Martial God's hands were trembling. Father is going to become the emperor, then I am going to become the crown prince. Father, did you get rid of His Majesty? Martial God asked in a low voice. Heaven and earth directly slapped onto his son's head. Are you blind? Do you think that I can directly turn into a fly and fly into the imperial palace? Then who killed the emperor? Martial God asked weakly. End of chapter. Chapter 1035. Who else could it be? I had already promised him and he killed me. Jing Tian said gravely. I was still too hasty. I shouldn't have promised him. Right now, I am in a difficult position. I have no choice but to become the emperor. Martial God let out a long sound, expressing his surprise. Don't here, Scram, you are making me annoyed. Jing Tian shouted out. My son still needs to gain some experience. This is just a small matter. Why is he so flustered? Martial God felt that he indeed needed to calm down, so he slowly walked out of the tent. After seeing his son leave, Jing Tian held onto his forehead. This is too sudden. I am a bit flustered. Martial God who was absent-minded walked into his tent unsteadily. Martial God. What happened to you? Muddle-headed? Is it because of me? I am sorry, Martial God. Baiyu thought that it was because of her that Martial God was scolded by her father. Martial God swallowed his saliva and said in a low voice, Water, water. Baiyu, go and get a cup of water for me. Okay. Baiyu hurriedly poured a cup of water for Martial God, and Martial God drank it all in one gulp. Baiyu. Martial God raised his head and called out to Baiyu. Baiyu was confused. Martial God, don't be like this, you are scaring me. Martial God pressed onto Baiyu's shoulders and said in a low voice, Baiyu, you are going to be the crown prince's concubine. Look at you, it is just a small matter. Why are you flustered? Look at me, I am not flustered at all. Baiyu sat on the bed with a dizzy feeling, not knowing what happened. Martial God, my head is so dizzy. Martial God directly pressed Baiyu onto the bed and kissed her sweet lips. After a long time, Martial God said excitedly, Baiyu, father is going to become the emperor. I am going to be the crown prince, and you are going to be my crown prince's concubine. Before Baiyu could finish shouting, she was blocked by Martial God. Because Martial God was too excited, he needed to take care of his physical needs. It is not bad to have his wife by his side. Right now, Yihua was currently sleeping soundly, and he was completely unaware that Shanghai's side was already in chaos. Even shocking heaven and earth was a little confused. He had to plan properly. The next morning, the weather wasn't bad, the sun was bright and beautiful. Of course, the bright sunlight only referred to the front line of defense. The back line of defense was suffering from the sandstorm. It was really tough on Huang Yin, hiding behind and eating dirt. After waking up, Yihua stretched his neck and washed up as if nothing had happened, then went to eat breakfast. Brother, are the dishes suitable? Yi Yuanqing asked happily, waiting for his brother to praise him. However, Yihua said faintly, I don't like to eat breakfast. Yi Yuanqing's smile froze on her face. She pouted. She had just woken up early in the morning to cook for her, yet she said such words. However, the dishes are not bad. Looking at his little sister's angry look, Yihua felt that she was cute. At this time, if Qingye knew about it, she would definitely not accept it. When we are angry, why do you think we are being unreasonable? When your sister is angry, she is cute. It couldn't be helped. He had been with his wife for too long, and this sister of his had just come out. The novelty was not over yet. Big brother, Imperial Cloud will be holding a meeting later. Oh, let's go and listen to the meeting then. Yihua said faintly. Now that everything is settled, All that is left is to wait for the result. Yi Yuanqing nodded her head and said, Big brother, if it's delicious, then finish it all, Yi Hua. After a long while, Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing walked towards the place that Huang Yun arranged for them to meet. Yi Yuanqing lowered her head and smiled, while Yi Hua lightly caressed his stomach. Big brother, if you can't eat it, then don't eat it seriously. Yi Yuanqing felt that her big brother was becoming more and more interesting, so cute. Yi Hua stopped talking and had a cold look on his face. The one who said that I am going to finish it is you. And now, the one who said that you are not going to finish it is also you. Just what do you want? Big brother, are you angry at me? Don't, I will give you a massage. Damn, I really can't stand this little sister acting coquettishly. My hairs are all standing up. The soldiers who were standing at the side heard it too. And they looked as if they saw a ghost. General Yi. So it turns out that she is a woman. What are you looking at? Stand up straight. Yi Yuanqing glared at him with her beautiful eyes, scaring the young soldier who was at the side to the point that he started trembling. The General Yi from just now is still the most charming one. But right now, this manly version of General Yi, let's just forget about it. Yi Hua said in a low voice. Yuanqing, a girl should have the appearance of a girl, if not how are you going to get married in the future? Anyways, I am already promised to go out. Yi Yuanqing pouted her mouth. That Shan Yu is just a scholar, I really don't like him. Leave this matter to big brother. Yi Hua laughed lightly. In any case, she is still a little sister. How can an ordinary man do it? Yi Yuanqing's beautiful eyes flickered. Big brother, you treat Yuanqing so well. Yuanqing will get used to it in the future. At that time, I will have a bad habit of being spoiled by you. Haha. So what about it? No matter how big the matter is, big brother will be able to settle it for you. Yi Hua felt great. Needless to say, I really like to clean up after other people's mess. Yi Yuanqing was also very happy, and her footsteps became much more cheerful. Big brother is the best. A happy smile appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. This feeling is so good. The relationship between brother and sister is pretty good. The two walked into the place that Huang Yun arranged for them, and Huang Yun was already sitting on the main seat. Huang Li had also arrived a long time ago, and he was sitting on the lower left seat. Even Shi Yun's enemy had arrived as well. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing arrived late, but they did not explain anything and directly sat down. This caused Huang Yun to be very unhappy. Is this your attitude? In another 2 days, I, the emperor, will be able to see your corpses lying on the battlefield. At that time, I, the emperor, will have to rush over and stab your corpses a few times to relieve the hatred in my heart. Since everyone is here, I will be making the final announcement before the battle. Huang Yun said gravely. Seeing that everyone was not speaking, Huang Yun said coldly, Deputy General Huang, you will lead 1 million soldiers to defend the right side of the city. General Yi, you will lead 1 million soldiers to defend the left side of the city, and I will lead 3 million soldiers to defend the last checkpoint. Are you clear? Huang Li suddenly said. Imperial General, what is the difference between this and suicide? Deputy General Huang, if you have any suggestions, you can speak them out. Huang Yun said gravely. Just what is this big prince trying to do? Huang Li said coldly. Split up the troops and defend. What if the enemy attacks one side? The other side will not be able to provide support at all. Imperial General, have you thought of such a situation before? I have thought of it before. That is why you all have to defend as much as possible, because we do not know what kind of schemes the enemy will use. That is why you all have to be prepared. Who knows, the two of you might even be able to defend against 5 million soldiers, and that would be a great merit. Huang Yun naturally wouldn't change his order. If the two of them dared to disobey his order, he would chop them into pieces. End of this chapter. Chapter 1036. Just now, Huang Li was fighting for the last chance, but who knew that his 9th brother was determined to kill him? You win! Huang Li shouted in a deep voice. He waved his hand and left. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing didn't make a sound. They didn't care much about this battle. They were just putting on a show for the emperor. In the past, they were putting on a show for 2 emperors, but now they were putting on a show for 1 emperor. Do the two of you have any objections? Huang Yun asked Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing had a smile on their lips. This made Huang Yun very unhappy. Things have already reached such a stage, and the two of you are still smiling. You should be begging me to spare your lives. Perhaps this prince will spare your lives. But your arrogance will take your lives. All of you will die. Then all the military merits will belong to me. And all of you can go to hell. I am the crown prince, the future emperor of the gods. Although Huang Yun's expression was calm, his heart was crazy. This is an illness that was suppressed by Yi Hua. Looking at Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing leave, Huang Yun thought in his heart, I just need to endure for 2 more days. Endure for 2 more days. Yi Hua will be gone, Yi Yuanqing will be gone, and the entire Yi family will be gone. Let's see who else dares to oppose the imperial family. Those who oppose the imperial family can only die. There is no other way. Crown Prince, there is no point in angering them like this. Shi Yin said indifferently. After speaking, he stood up and left. Everyone left, and only Huang Yun was left. All of you will die. All of you will die. Those who dare to anger me, all of them will die. Huang Yun's mutter rang out in the room. It was filled with madness. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing didn't walk far before they bumped into Huang Li. Prince Yi, is everything going as planned? Huang Li asked. He was in a bad mood and was hoping for a miracle to happen. Yi Hua said indifferently, and everything will go as planned. All right, let's go as planned. God bless us. Huang Li's eyes flashed. Now, I can only fight. If I win, I will make a comeback. But if I lose, then I will become a corpse. This is the price. The price of being an emperor. If you don't die, or if I don't live, there is no other choice. But this kind of life investment is worth it, in exchange for better benefits. Seeing that Huang Li had left, Yi Yuanqing asked in a low voice, Big brother, are you really going to kill Huang Li? Yuanqing, who said that I want to kill Huang Li? Yi Hua said indifferently. He seemed to be very profound, and he was like a military advisor that grasped everything in his hands, and was able to devise strategies from 1,000 miles away. You said it last time. Yi Yuanqing whispered. Yi Hua laughed lightly. That is because your comprehension ability is too poor. Big brother, you are bullying me, I'm going to ignore you. Yi Yuanqing stomped his feet on the ground, not having the slightest bit of the bearing of a general, causing those seasoned soldiers to be dumbstruck. It seems that only General Ye's brother can control it. This is also a good thing. Otherwise, I'm afraid that General Yi will forget that he is a woman. However, in the camp, the father and son were listening to the latest news. Now Shanghai was already in chaos. The princes had already started to fight for the throne. It was as if they were going to fight to the death. Jing Tiandi waved his hand and signaled the soldiers to leave first. Martial God, inform our people to create momentum. Jing Tiandi said gravely. Right now, I can only use my identity to suppress them. After all, I am the emperor's blood-related brother. I am the absolute power of Shanghai. What qualifications do these juniors have to fight for the throne? Jing Tiandi had a happy look on his face as he cupped his hands and said, Yes, father. Right now, Jing Tiandi doesn't even want to fight anymore. Right now, his wife's illness is already cured, and the throne is also waiting for him. Right now, going back is the most important thing. However, this still isn't enough. If I really do that, it would be equivalent to standing Yi Hua up. This man isn't someone that I can afford to offend. Although I have a very powerful weapon, it is impossible for me to hit Yi Hua. Therefore, I still have to cooperate with him. This is an opportunity created by someone else. Let's wait for another 2 days. Just wait for another 2 days. Jing Tiandi was very excited, who said that he didn't want the throne. However, out of consideration for his brotherly relationship, he didn't make a move. However, this time, my own younger brother actually wants to kill me. Since that's the case as the big brother, I won't be lenient anymore. 2 days later, there will be a good show. As the time got closer and closer, the soldiers on the city wall became more and more perplexed. This is the lack of confidence towards the future. This is the feeling of perplexity. It can be said that the morale of the soldiers who are defending at the front is very low. After all, these soldiers aren't idiots, and they clearly know what the result of using 2 million soldiers to defend against 5 million soldiers would be. Yi Yuanqing, who was standing on the city wall, looked at the prairie in front of him. A few hours later, this prairie will be dyed with a layer of blood. At that time, this prairie will become a sea of blood. Yuanqing, what's wrong? Yihua still didn't wear his armor today. Walking to his little sister's side, Yihua asked faintly, "Big brother, is this really fine? Hundreds of thousands of soldiers will die." At this time, Yi Yuanqing couldn't bear to watch anymore. "I clearly know that this is just an act, but the death is still real." Yihua stared at the front, and a black dot had already appeared on the horizon. "That is better than all of us dying in battle," Yihua said faintly. "This is already the best result, using the smallest price to exchange for the lives of more people. Recently, I have been a bit benevolent, but it is a bit annoying." After hearing what Yihua said, Yi Yuanqing didn't say anything. Soon after, Yi Yuanqing took a deep breath, turned around, looked at the millions of soldiers behind him, and raised the spear in his hand. "Brothers, today is the day for us to show off our abilities. For ourselves. For the homeland behind us. For freedom. Victory." Yi Yuanqing's voice wasn't very loud, but it carried a sense of firmness, a sense of obsession. The officers and soldiers who were present were all Yi Yuanqing's subordinates, and they understood what Yi Yuanqing meant. For ourselves. For our homeland. For freedom. Victory. For ourselves. For our homeland. For freedom. Victory. For ourselves. For our homeland. For freedom. Victory. Head out of the city and face the enemy. Yi Yuanqing shouted out, and the left city gate was immediately opened. However, the people from Imperial Cloud will definitely be observing from the side. "General Yi, what is the meaning of this? General has given an order. Everyone defend." A person could be seen immediately rushing out and shouting out towards Yi Yuanqing. Yi Yuanqing slowly put on his helmet and said coldly, "I don't need you to interfere with what I do." "General Yi, you are disobeying a military order." The man shouted out gravely. Without waiting for Yi Yuanqing to speak, Yihua asked gravely, "What is the crime of disturbing the morale of the army?" End of this chapter. Chapter 1037. Death Penalty. Yi Yuanqing said coldly, "Yi Yuanqing, how dare you? I'm the Imperial General's man." The man's complexion changed, and he angrily shouted. Yihua sneered, "Even if you are someone from the heavens will not be able to save you." As soon as he finished speaking, the man's face began to contort as if he was under some kind of pressure. His body also began to swell up. A breath's worth of time. Bang! Beautiful blood blossomed in the air. Yi Yuanqing did not have any objections to his big brother's actions. He admired his big brother's decisiveness and could feel their morale rising. Everyone knew that only by going out of the city would they have a sliver of hope for victory. "Let's go." Yi Yuanqing waved her hand, and the million soldiers stepped out of the city gate with a cold, murderous aura. However, the same thing was happening in the right city. Not far away, there were more than 20 Supremes, led by Shiryun. They all saw this scene. "I didn't expect them to actually plan to go out of the city to meet the enemy," Shiryun murmured. This method was indeed a bit extreme, but this was the only way to create a miracle. It could be considered as cutting off all means of retreat. The other Supreme Beings watched this scene silently. They did not plan to make a move. They had their own mission, and that was to snatch the unparalleled. As for the life and death of these people, it had nothing to do with them. The news of them leaving the city to meet the enemy quickly reached Huang Yun's ears. What? They went out. Huang Yun was wearing a golden robe and armor, looking majestic. But when he heard this news, his expression still changed. He didn't expect that they would really dare to go out of the city to face the enemy and disobey his orders. Good. Very good. Those who disobeyed military orders would be executed on the spot. Now you finally have an excuse. Thinking of this, Huang Yun's expression gradually became calm. Since he was going to die anyway, it was better this way. Previously, he was afraid that his orders would be met with opposition. Now there was no need to be afraid at all. Pass down my order. Prepare to receive the enemy's attack. Huang Yun said in a deep voice. Yes, General. Huang Yun stood at the last line of defense, and he had a question in his heart as well. Didn't Father Emperor already make arrangements? Why is Yihua still alive? This shouldn't be possible. Yihua should be dead by now. Could it be that Father is planning to kill Yihua during the war? The possibility of that was quite high. But no matter what, after today, my name, Huang Yun, has once again reverberated throughout the God's realm. Everyone knows that I, Huang Yun, defeated the attack of Demonic City. I have the ability to sit on the position of Crown Prince, and I can also become the Emperor in the future. With such a joyful mood, the corners of Huang Yun's mouth curled into a clever arc as he quietly waited for the grievous news to arrive from the front. At this moment, Huang Yun recalled what his father had told him before he set off for battle. The enemy's commander-in-chief would deliberately let him die under his sword. Imperial Father's arrangements were flawless. Actually, from that moment onwards, Huang Yun understood that this was a scheme arranged by his father. Not only would it be able to get rid of Yihua, it would also be able to allow him to smoothly ascend to the throne. His father was still very experienced, and he still had a lot to learn. Huang Yun wasn't worried at all because he knew that the enemy wouldn't fight their way in. In fact, they would even send themselves to die. Thinking about it, he sighed. For the sake of benefits, they could do anything. Huang Yun didn't send this news back to Lingdu, because he felt that it was the same. There was no need to tell his father. Meanwhile, within Lingdu's imperial palace, Huang Feidi and Shan Junren were both waiting for the latest battle report. Huang Feidi's expression wasn't very good. Yihua has already been gone for 3 days. Logically speaking, he should have disappeared by now, so why is he still here? Just what is this Jackdaw doing? Why hasn't he made a move yet? Could it be that Jackdaw is planning to make a move at the start of the battle? Huang Feidi was of the opinion that Jackdaw was planning to make a move at the start of the battle. Rather than hearing that Jackdaw had obtained a complete victory, Jackdaw might as well tell me that Lord Yi had disappeared, or rather, Lord Yi had died in battle. This day is going to be a very difficult day. At this very moment, 2 million officers and soldiers had already finished gathering. How many were 2 million people? Looking down from the sky, they looked like a black mass of people. Just looking at them was enough to make one's blood boil. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, there were 5 million officers and soldiers, and there were even a few ancient godly beasts circling around in the sky. This caused the 2 million officers and soldiers to gulp down a mouthful of saliva. Those ancient godly beasts were more than capable of breaching the city gate. It is fortunate that they came out to fight. If not, their deaths would have been too unjust. However, not long after, those ancient godly beasts that were flying in the sky retreated. This caused a lot of people to be puzzled. In actuality, this was nothing more than showing off one's strength before the battle. On the other hand, Yihua's side did not have any ancient godly beasts supporting them, and thus, their morale was very low. However, to Yihua, this was not a problem at all. This was not a problem at all. If your side sends out ancient godly beasts, then my side will send out ancient ferocious beasts. As the main force on my side, I naturally have to show off my strength. Yihua was wearing a black robe, and he didn't look like he was here to fight at all. He looked more like he was here to take a stroll. However, Yi Yuanqing and Huang Li who were walking at the back were different. Both of them were wearing sturdy armors, especially Huang Li, who wished that he could bring out everything he had to protect his life. However, as a deputy general, he couldn't reveal a fearful expression right now. After all, even Yi Yuanqing who was beside him was very calm. It was as if he was taking a stroll. This Lord Yi is the same as well. Why are the two of them able to be so calm? Just why? Could it be that they aren't afraid of death? The 2 million officers and soldiers opened up a path for Yihua. Yihua stood with his hands behind his back and walked at the front. I feel that this scene is a bit interesting, and it has barely reached the level of the Supreme Overlord. Inside the enemy's camp, Jingtian and Wushan both saw Yihua. The two's gazes were filled with a peculiar color, and they didn't look like they were looking at enemies at all. They should be looking at allies, right? In Jingtian's eyes, this man called Yihua was just like a miracle. It was as if there was nothing he couldn't do, and he was actually able to sneak into an important place like the Imperial Palace without anyone noticing. One must know. That younger brother of mine isn't weak, he is similarly a supreme overlord, and yet he died just like that. This is a bit hard to accept. In Wushan's eyes, this ridiculously handsome man is very mysterious. Looking at his age, this man seems to be around the same as me, but looking at other aspects, this man is much more powerful than me. This man is simply too powerful. Yi Hua walked to the front of the 2 million officers and soldiers with his hands behind his back, and that calm expression of his influenced everyone. As long as one looks at that face, one would feel that today's matter was not a big deal at all, and it was just like a child playing house. Yi Hua stared at the 5 million soldiers in front of him. It must be said, the aura that these 5 million soldiers are emitting is very grand, and this kind of feeling is very good. If Yi Zizi and Wei Chong were here, they would definitely compete with each other again. After all, this is what they like. I have some matters to take care of today, so I won't be able to update anymore. End of this chapter. Chapter 1038. It's a pity that I, the Supreme Overlord, don't plan to let them appear, because I, the Supreme Overlord, want to play. After thinking, Yi Hua immediately spread out his arms. This action caused everyone to go into a daze. What does this mean? Is he embracing nature? That doesn't exist. Yi Hua spread out his arms. He was summoning the ancient beasts. After a while, the entire ground started shaking, as if there was something moving underground at high speed. At this moment, everyone could feel that there seemed to be a behemoth squirming underground, and the ground was tumbling like seawater. Just what is this thing? This sentence was what everyone was wondering. Even Jingtian and Wushan were the same. Just what is that man doing? Yi Yuanqing and Huangli were also very surprised. However, everyone sensed that the ground was moving towards Yi Hua's direction. The 2 million soldiers subconsciously felt that this was a beast sent by the enemy, and all of them were on guard. A solemn expression appeared on everyone's face. However, what they expected didn't happen. The thing beneath their feet seemed to have moved backwards, as if it was just passing by. Everyone was stupefied. Just what is going on? Don't act recklessly, brother. Just when everyone was puzzled, the mountain behind them started trembling slightly. It was clear that the thing under the ground had drilled into the mountain. Boom, boom, boom. 3 loud sounds shook the world, and a savage aura swept through the entire battlefield. Roar. A tearing roar resounded throughout the world, and even Huang Yun, who was at the back, could hear it. What is going on? Huang Yun immediately stood up and shouted. This subordinate will go and take a look at the situation right now. A soldier behind him said respectfully. Shi Yun looked at the ancient beasts in front of him, and his eyes were filled with astonishment. Were these 3 ancient beasts summoned by Lord Yi? That shouldn't be possible. Lord Yi must have used some sort of method to invite these 3 ancient beasts to help him. After all, this battle concerned life and death, and Lord Yi had no choice but to take out his trump card. Jackdaw, who was hiding at the side, was astonished. This Lord Yi is so powerful now. He actually managed to call over these ancient beasts to help him. Unimaginable. Seems like I made the right choice. If I can't afford to provoke him, then I shouldn't provoke him. If not, the one who dies will be me. Behind the 2 million soldiers, the 3 corpse Kuan beasts glared at everyone. Their gigantic heads were terrifying, and their mouths were filled with razor-sharp teeth that seemed capable of tearing apart anything in the world. A disgusting stench permeated the entire battlefield. That was the stench of the corpse Kuan beast's breath. Everyone felt that if this continued, there was no need to fight anymore. They would all faint from the stench. This smell was like super smelly socks that had been worn for a month without being washed. That kind of feeling was as if life had reached its climax. Shockwave and Shockwave stared blankly at the 3 corpse Kuan beasts. They were ferocious corpse Kuan beasts from the prehistoric era. If it was used for defense, it would be easy to defend against. After all, this corpse Kuan beast was an underground creature. It was extremely nimble. When it opened its mouth, even great desolate divine beasts would have to think twice. This Yi Hua was actually able to directly call over 3 corpse Kuan. Not simple ah, not simple ah. He definitely has another identity, but what exactly is it? The 5 million soldiers were also dumbfounded. They even had a corpse Quran. What was the meaning of going out of the city to fight? There was definitely a conspiracy behind this. So, Commander-in-Chief, don't be fooled. We should retreat and think about it first. Right now. Yihua's brows were tightly wrinkled. He seemed to have smelled the stench as well. Why is this stench so serious? It's so disgusting. If I were to allow them to continue staying here, all of these people would faint from the stench. When that time comes, how am I supposed to fight anymore? Just now, there were only these 3 corpse Kuan beasts that were closest to me, and there weren't any other powerful wild beasts. Thus, I could only let them come over and take a look. This deterrent effect was achieved, but the stench was truly terrifying. I, the Supreme Overlord, am almost unable to take it anymore. It was spitting out poisonous smoke. The 3 corpse Kuan beasts could be seen to have received an order. With a trace of unwillingness on their faces, the 3 corpse Kuan beasts roared out once again, expressing their depression. The 3 corpse Kuan beasts shrank back into the mountain, then retreated. Yihua was a bit depressed. I didn't manage to achieve what I had expected. If it was possible, I, the Supreme Overlord, would like to do it again. However, there wasn't much meaning to it anymore. Although I saw that the enemy's soldiers were revealing looks of shock, I still didn't manage to achieve what I had expected. Following the departure of the 3 corpse Kuan beasts, the air became clear again. The 7 million soldiers took in a deep breath. Just now, they were nearly poisoned to death. Seems like if a war were to break out in the future, the best person to mediate would be these corpse Kuan beasts. These corpse Kuan beasts were able to make both sides faint from the poison. At the back. Reporting to General. There are 3 corpse Kuan beasts. The soldier reported with a horrified look in his eyes. His voice was still trembling. It was obvious that he was frightened by the scene just now. Huang Yun's face sank as he questioned in a low voice. Where did this corpse Kuan beast come from? Did you find out? Subordinate doesn't know. Trash. I don't even know where it came from. Huang Yun shouted coldly. He had a bad premonition. He did not expect the corpse Kuan beast to appear. How was this possible? Seems like it is very likely that it was Yihua who called them over. That's right. The Yi siblings seemed to have a well-thought-out plan from the very beginning. It seemed like they had planned to do this long ago. By using the corpse Kuan beast to scare the enemy, the other side would definitely be on edge, not daring to make any big moves. This was a bad thing. If they didn't fight today, where would they get the merit points? Where could he find them? Therefore, they had to fight today. Right now, Huang Yun's state of mind was a little unstable. If they really repelled 5 million enemies, then all the credit would go to that side. Disobeying orders and obtaining victory was the best order. They could not be allowed to win. Definitely not. Go. Continue to keep an eye on them, and if anything happens, immediately report to me. Huang Yun said gravely. Huang Yun was panicking because this was completely different from what he had planned. Huang Yun was very worried that things would go out of control. Father Emperor had already arranged everything for me, and right now, only the finishing touches are left. If I don't even manage to do this well, my position in Father Emperor's heart would definitely fall. Today, I can only succeed, I can't fail. Right now, Huang Yun was very worried. Right now Huang Li was feeling very great. Just the corpse Kuan beast that just appeared is more than enough to intimidate the other side. It is even possible for the other side to retreat. After all, in front of this kind of terrifying corpse Kuan beast, everything else is useless. However, all of this was arranged beforehand, and this was also to give Jing Tian an excuse to retreat later on. After all, Jing Tian couldn't bring back the record of losing the battle and inherit the throne. The best excuse was that the other side had used a powerful corpse Kuan beast, and for the safety of the soldiers, Jing Tian could only stop this unnecessary battle. Therefore, all of this was just a requirement of the plot. However, in the eyes of ordinary people, all of this was the truth, and they would never be able to see the truth. End of this chapter. Chapter 1039. Yihua looked towards Shocking Heaven and Earth. Shocking Heaven and Earth also understood what Yihua was trying to do. Now, the second segment of the competition was about to begin. Harsh words. With his hands behind his back, Yihua shouted out, "You scoundrels, hurry up and report your names." In order to achieve the effect of the program, Shocking Heaven and Earth calmed himself down and walked out of the 5 million strong army. His armor was majestic and domineering. On the other hand, Yihua appeared to be much more refined. Right now, the battle between the two was just like a military advisor and a general. "Audacious fellow, do you all know who I am?" Jing Tian pointed at Yihua and shouted out. Yihua thought to himself, this fellow sure knows how to act, not bad. Yi Yuanqing was a little dizzy. He had no idea what his big brother and the person opposite him were doing. Didn't they come to an agreement? Why did it seem like they had a falling out again? Huang Li, who was at the side, was the same. Wasn't everything fine just now? Why did this happen all of a sudden? Jackdaw was shocked. Because he knew that this Prince Yi was putting on an act with the other party's commander-in-chief. Jackdaw knew that this man was the one who killed Yihua all those years ago. Now the two of them were acting like they didn't know each other and cursing at each other. There was definitely a problem with this. If Prince Yi could threaten him, why couldn't he threaten the other side's commander-in-chief? How savage. This Prince Yi was really savage. He really couldn't afford to provoke him. This prince has no interest in knowing who you are. This prince only knows that you will submit to this prince's power. Tremble under the power of this prince. Yihua shouted out loudly with a resounding tone. Jing Tian laughed out loud. Who do you think you are? How dare you ask me to submit to you? I'll take your life later. You can repent in hell. After saying that, Jing Tian felt that it was too much. It was a little exaggerated. Hell is open by this prince. If you want to go, I, the Duke, will invite you to go. Yihua shouted out coldly and shot out a doom's eyes. This caused Jing Tiandi's heart to sink. Didn't we agree to put on an act? Aren't I cooperating with you? Otherwise, how could these people believe him? Shockwave God, who was standing at the back, felt a lingering fear in his heart. His father's words were too harsh. All right, then let's see if it's you or me who dies today. Yihua said faintly. I will grant you death. After the two of them finished talking, they turned around at the same time and walked into the group. The soldiers at the front raised their shields and slightly bowed their bodies as they looked at the enemy. Yi Yuanqing shouted, "Kill! Kill!" Instantly, the entire battlefield was filled with killing intent, and a strange aura condensed in the air. 2 million people took the initiative to attack. This caused the enemy to be a little surprised. Their guts were not ordinary. Shi Yin felt it. He had the killing intent now, but what he lacked now was blood. At that moment, Huang Yin heard that Yi Yuanqing had actually taken the initiative to attack. He was finally at ease. As long as they fought, everything else was fine. Yihua didn't participate in the battle, and right now he had already walked to the top of the city wall to observe the situation. Shocking Heaven and Earth was the same. There was no need to participate in the battle. They were just acting now. As long as he could lure the Supreme out, everything would be fine. Yi Yuanqing made a few gestures and then stopped killing because there was no need. This wasn't a real battlefield and they didn't even know that it was all fake. Your blood is only used to draw out the Supreme. But right now Huang Li's blood was boiling. As long as one person fell, it would be his contribution. The morale of the 2 million people was very high. On the other hand, the morale of the 5 million people was slightly lacking. It seemed like they were being suppressed. In actuality, looking at the ratio of the number of people, it wasn't very big. It was enough for one person to fight against 5 people. Furthermore, the morale of the two armies was very important. It would directly affect the result of the battle. Shocking Heaven and Earth seemed to be intentionally going easy on them, which was why he didn't say anything to raise their morale. Yihua, who was standing on the city wall, saw everything. This was the first time he had seen humans fighting. Very ferocious. They simply didn't see the enemy as a human. Every time they raised their blade, they would take a life. What was the difference between them and the mutated race? In fact, they felt that they were even more ferocious than the mutated race. The blood on the ground was getting more and more. The green grass was all dyed red, and the entire battlefield was emitting a thick smell of blood. In the sky above the battlefield, one could clearly feel that there was a special power that was absorbing the blood. In just this short amount of time, tens of thousands of people had died on both sides. Tens of thousands of people's corpses were lying on the plains. They couldn't go home anymore. They couldn't see their wives and children anymore. They couldn't see their parents that they bought years ago anymore. At the back, Huang Yun was very anxious and was pacing back and forth. Report. What's the situation right now? Huang Yun asked anxiously. Replying to General. The army at the front seems to be what? Stop stuttering. Huang Yun shouted out angrily. General Huang, our morale is high, and we are continuously defeating the enemy. What? Huang Yun, who was flustered and exasperated, slapped onto the table beside him, and the table immediately shattered into pieces. These people actually successfully defeated the enemy. No. This is definitely not allowed. All of the credit cannot be taken away by Huang Li. This time, Father Emperor gave him a chance to turn the situation around. And I didn't expect that he would actually be able to do it. This is too fake. General Huang, what should we do right now? Huang Yun tightly held onto the sun and moon divine breath that was on his waist, and after a short while, he stood up. Give the order to the entire army. Follow me and kill our way out of the city. That's right. Huang Yun decided to take the initiative to attack. I can't let all of the credit be taken away by the enemy. Yes. The 3 million plus officers and soldiers at the last line of defense all headed towards the front line to fight for the credit. I can't let those few people take advantage of me. However, right now, the number of deaths at the front line continued to rise. Originally, there were only a few tens of thousands of deaths, but right now, the number of deaths had already risen to over 100,000, and this number is still continuing to rise. Right now, the ground was no longer dyed red. Instead, it had formed a small stream of blood. This scene was very shocking. Yi Hua felt that he was still considered to be merciful. In the past, such a situation had never happened before. There definitely wouldn't be any corpses left at the scene. These humans, when they become vicious, they are simply too terrifying. In the future, I, the Supreme Overlord, have to be more careful. Today, I, the Supreme Overlord, was taught another lesson. Just as Yi Hua was sighing, a series of sounds rang out from behind him. Yi Hua didn't turn his head around, because he knew who it was that came over. This Huang Yun can still be considered to be able to sit still. To actually drag it out till now, he finally couldn't sit still anymore. Those who are still able to sit still right now are definitely those who are patriotic. After all, that is the last line of defense. If this was just the enemy's scheme, you, the fool, would have fallen for it. However, right now you still fell for it. If you don't come out now, you will lose the main character in the upcoming scenes. Huang Yun, who was below, saw Yi Hua's figure. This fellow is actually standing on top of the city wall and looking at us. End of this chapter. Chapter 1040. What are the people that Father Emperor arranged to do? Why are they still making a move now? When are they going to make a move? This man is actually able to face the situation so calmly, as if everything is within his grasp. Damn it. He is actually smiling. He is definitely mocking me. Huang Yun couldn't care less about Yi Hua. It is impossible to kill Yi Hua right now, but I have to get the position of Crown Prince. Countless people immediately rushed out of the city gate, and the sound of killing shook the sky. However, when the 2 million people who were bravely killing the enemies heard the sound of reinforcements, their morale became even higher. To them, there was no such thing as being used. As long as someone came to rescue them, then that person would be a good brother. However, to Huang Li, such a sound simply made him want to kill someone. This damned Huang Yun, he actually brought people out. He actually came out to fight with me. This shameless thing. He actually did such a despicable thing. Jing Tian saw all of this, and he continued to wait. Just wait a bit more, it will be fine. When Shi Yun saw that Huang Yun brought people out to fight, he sighed lightly. Brainless. It isn't that Huang Yun is brainless. It is that Huang Yun is suppressed by Yi Hua to the point that he can't even breathe, and he is unable to maintain his previous elegance and wisdom. Yi Hua's appearance caused this genius in the past to go crazy, but he hasn't gone crazy yet. He is just about to go crazy. Huang Yun. What is the meaning of this? After killing the enemy in front of him, Huang Li questioned Huang Yun. Huang Yin said with a sunken face. What am I doing? Killing the enemies. Killing the enemies. You shameless thing. I will report all of this to Father Emperor. Huang Li shouted out angrily. Aren't you afraid of people laughing at you for doing such a thing? You ran out when you saw that you are going to win. Why didn't you come out from the start? Up to you. Huang Yin said faintly. Although he pretended to be calm, he was still very unhappy in his heart. I didn't expect that these 2 million people would be able to defeat the enemy. Right at this moment, the originally bright sky gradually dimmed down. Yihua raised his head and looked at the sky. They are finally here. Jing Tian also let out a sigh of relief. They are finally here. Jing Tian stretched out his hand and grabbed towards the sky. Li fire immediately appeared in Jing Tian's hand. Martial God, proceed according to the original plan. Yes, Father. Martial God shouted in a deep voice. Today's battle was over. It was time to go back and fight for the throne. When the scene appeared, everyone on the battlefield stopped and looked at the sky. Huang Li and Huang Yin were the same. Their eyes were filled with greed. This was supreme. As long as one possessed supreme, one would be able to become a supreme being, revered by tens of thousands of people. At this moment, Yi Yuanqing appeared beside Yi Hua. He had already made arrangements to retreat. Big brother, what should we do now? Just watch. Yi Hua said lightly. He was very curious about what would happen next. Gradually, the darkening sky became strange, as if the earth had been covered with a layer of black cloth. What did it mean to be unable to see one's own fingers? He could feel it now. His eyes were clearly open, but he couldn't see anything at all. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, Firmament suddenly opened his heavenly eye. A ray of light shot out. This ray of light was extremely beautiful, illuminating the entire battlefield. It seemed incomparably divine. If someone with wings appeared now, it would be very normal. This was also the first time that Yi Hua had seen such a phenomenon, and he felt that it was very novel. So beautiful, Yi Yuanqing murmured. Just as everyone was sighing with emotion, a red pearl appeared at the top of Firmament, and moved down along with the ray of light. Jing Tiandi immediately took out the picture scroll. However, just as he took it out, the picture scroll in his hand mysteriously disappeared. This caused Jing Tiandi's expression to change. I shouldn't have taken out the picture scroll just now. Father, could this pearl be supreme? Jing Tiandi wanted it as well. After all, this was a super treasure. Jing Tiandi's expression sank as he nodded his head. This is the primordial spirit of an overlord. My God. The primordial spirit of an overlord. Jing Tiandi murmured in shock. This was truly unimaginable. Shi Yin went into a daze for quite a while, then shouted out gravely, Snatch. The overlords behind him immediately shot out, and more than 20 multicolored lights rushed towards the Supreme. In the darkness of the night, the multicolored lights were very obvious. Jing Tiandi naturally saw it as well. He raised the Li fire in his hand high up, then immediately dropped it down. A terrifying saber energy was instantly formed, and the entire world trembled because of it. From this, it could be seen just how abnormal this ordinary saber energy was. The red saber energy was extremely fast, and along with a world-destroying aura, it attacked towards those overlords. Jing Tiandi's strength was originally higher than those overlords, and those overlords were completely unable to understand his actions. Therefore, this ordinary saber energy was simply terrifying to the extreme. Before the saber energy even came into contact with those overlords, their bodies disintegrated in the air, and even their primordial spirits didn't have time to fly out before they all exploded. That's right, it was precisely that kind of disappearance. When Shi Yin saw this, his eyes were filled with shock, and he dodged the saber energy with all his might. However, the saber energy was still too fast, and while Shi Yin was dodging, he was still injured, and the entire right half of his body disappeared. Shi Yin's body could be clearly seen falling down from the sky, and his eyes were filled with shock. What kind of saber energy is this? I have never seen it before. Just a single saber energy is enough to insta-kill an overlord. Boom. Shi Yin's body smashed out a large pit on the ground, and he was on the verge of death. More than 20 overlords died under a single saber energy attack from Jing Tiandi. This caused everyone to be dumbfounded. The soldiers of the deities were all shocked. This is too strong, isn't it? Meanwhile, the soldiers of the demonic city immediately cheered. Their commander killed more than 20 overlords with a single saber energy attack. And there was even one who was on the verge of death. Who is able to break such a record? No one is able to break such a record. Huang Li and Huang Yin were both dumbfounded. This is 2F** King abnormal. What is that weapon in his hand? To actually insta-kill so many overlords, this is impossible. Right now, Yi Yuanqing's face was also filled with shock. This is simply too terrifying. Big brother. What kind of weapon is this? Why is it so powerful? Yi Yuanqing muttered. In the list of known weapons, there has never been a weapon that can insta-kill an overlord. Yihua felt the same too. I have a lot of items in my collection, but I don't have any weapons that can insta-kill an overlord. I can only insta-kill an overlord or a supreme overlord with my own strength. Oh, this is a legendary weapon. Yihua said lightly. Legendary weapon? I have never heard of it. Yi Yuanqing was confused. Ever since I was born, I have never heard of a legendary weapon. Yihua laughed lightly. Then from now onwards, you will have heard of it. Yi Yuanqing's face was filled with shock. Legendary weapon. Is it so powerful? This is too heaven-defying. This interlude was shocking, but the Supreme had already started to slowly descend. Now is the best time to snatch it. End of this chapter. Chapter 1041. As long as he can get Supreme. Then he can become a Supreme Overlord. This is much more attractive than the position of Crown Prince. Huang Li didn't think much and immediately rushed forward. I'm going to become a Supreme Overlord soon. Huang Yin was slower by half a beat, and adding on the fact that he was quite far away, he couldn't make it in time. However, Huang Yin still rushed over. Everyone's gaze was attracted by Supreme, and they didn't notice that there was something falling down from the sky. A black figure. To be more precise, it looked like a person. Yihua and Jing Tian saw it. Yuanqing, you stay here and watch. Yihua said, then disappeared. Jing Tian looked at his son and said, retreat, father will go and take a look. Yes. Jing Tian replied respectfully, then led his men and retreated. Yihua and Jing Tian arrived at the place where the black figure fell, and they saw that the black figure had smashed a small hole in the ground. Looking at the black figure's back, Yihua and Jing Tian's eyes brightened. What a perky butt. That's right, the black figure is a woman, and she's naked. However, Jing Tian suddenly frowned. Who is it? Yihua said faintly, one of us. Jackdaw's figure gradually appeared. Jing Tian paused for a moment and didn't say anything. He looked at the perky butt in the hole. It's really white. The woman's hand suddenly moved, as if she was going to come to life. Stand up facing us. Don't misunderstand, I don't want to see your chest, I just want to see your face, whether you look good or not. The woman's fingers slightly bent, and her body slightly trembled. It seems like this person hasn't moved for a long time, Jing Tian said. He didn't expect that a person would actually come out from the painting. However, with Yihua beside him, Jing Tian wasn't too worried. Jackdaw said, it doesn't look like a good person. Yihua was curious why Jackdaw would think like that. How do you know? Bad people don't wear clothes. Yihua. Jing Tian. Just when the three were chatting, the woman in the hole slowly arched her body and started breathing heavily, as if she just choked on water. However, there's nothing to look at. The three men looked at the important parts, chest muscles. But I look at the face, it's real, I'm not lying. After a long time, the woman stopped coughing and slowly stood up. This woman's appearance could not be considered extremely beautiful, but she was still considered beautiful. This kind of beauty came from her figure, it was simply too hot. Who are you? Jing Tian shouted. The woman's expression was very calm, but her eyes were filled with confusion as she began to look around. This caused Yihua to be very puzzled. Miss, please put on some clothes. You're hurting our taste, said Jackdaw, his face a little red. The woman was stunned for a moment. She lowered her head and looked at her body. Then, a layer of black unknown substance appeared on her skin. In the blink of an eye, The black unknown object condensed into a black armor. It was a female version, and it was especially sexy. When Yihua saw the armor, he seemed to have thought of something, and his brows slightly wrinkled. Jing Tian noticed Yihua's abnormality and was a bit puzzled. To be able to make him frown, was there something special about this woman? Even Jackdaw felt the same way. You're so strong. Why would you be afraid of a woman? Yihua asked gravely. You are a guardian. When the woman heard what Yihua said, her eyebrows wrinkled. How did you know? Who are you? Are you a guardian as well? The consecutive questions caused Jing Tian and Jackdaw to be confused. What is a guardian? What does a guardian do? Right now, Yihua doesn't know what a guardian is. Originally, he thought that guardians would only appear in Kangluo continent. But now, a guardian actually appeared in God's realm. Just what is this guardian? I am very curious about this matter. However, what Yihua didn't know was that Qing Yutong also met a guardian. However, the guardian that Qing Yutong met was just a bit unlucky. The guardian's strength wasn't at its peak. A guardian that reached its peak would be able to fight against Yihua in terms of strength. And that Su Jiao was one of them. I am not a guardian, but I have met a guardian before. What is your name? Yihua asked curiously. My name is, what is my name? I don't remember. The woman rubbed her forehead and tried her best to think. However, no matter how she tried, she couldn't remember. A bit of annoyance could be seen on her face. A terrifying aura began to blossom from the woman's body. This aura startled Jing Tian and Jackdaw. This woman is actually so terrifying. How is this possible? Yihua also didn't understand. Why did all these guardians lose their memories? Just what is going on? There is also another question, just how many guardians are there, and what are they guarding? There were too many questions in Yihua's mind. In order to find out the truth in the future, I definitely have to keep these guardians alive. Do you want to go somewhere? Yihua asked faintly. The woman hugged onto her head with both of her hands, seemingly to be in great pain. Along with the woman's roar, the ground began to crack, and the pressure in the air began to increase. This kind of woman is indeed very terrifying. Yihua felt that this woman should be a bit stronger than Su Jiao. Don't be anxious, just slowly think about it. We are not bad people, we are here to help you. Yihua said calmly. The woman raised her head and looked towards the man in front of her. Although her face was cold, she seemed like a good person. Slowly, the woman's aura began to retract and became much more stable. Jing Tian and Jackdaw also let out a breath of relief. However, Jing Tian was also thinking whether or not his leaf fire would be able to instantly kill this woman. It would be great if I can try. I'm just afraid that I won't be able to hit her. Where do you want to go? Yihua asked again. The woman slightly looked towards the sky and said faintly, I don't know. Then, you can go wherever you want to go. Yihua could only say what Su Jiao said and hope that this woman would be able to understand. After listening to what Yihua said, the woman paused for a moment, seemingly to think about what Yihua said. After a while, the woman said lightly, Thank you, I know what to do. No need to thank me, you can leave any time you want. Are you really not here to harm me? The woman subconsciously asked. This made Yihua speculate that this woman was definitely harmed by someone previously. Otherwise, why would she ask that question? However, there might be another possibility. It is hard to say. Of course not. Yihua said faintly. The woman nodded her head, then took another look at Yihua. After that, her body gradually disappeared from where she was. Yihua sensed that this woman went to Kangluo continent. What kind of thing is there in Kangluo continent that needs them to protect? This is getting a bit interesting. Sorry, I have something to do these 2 days, so annoying. End of this chapter. Chapter 1042. Jing Tiandi let out a deep breath. The person released from the painting wasn't a treasure, but the thing she was guarding was definitely a treasure. Moreover, from the looks of it, this woman was so powerful, so the item she was guarding shouldn't be an ordinary item. However, he still had to deal with his family matters. Mr. Yi, I will be leaving first, there are still many things waiting to be dealt with. When Jackdaw heard the way Jing Tiandi called him, he was confused. He actually called him Mr.? After all, Mr. has the meaning of teacher. As expected, the two of them were together. Okay, you can go. Yihua said indifferently. Okay, if there is anything in the future, just let me know. I will definitely come back. Jing Tiandi said softly. He wanted to tell Yihua that if there are any clues, just let him know. After all, I can be of help. When the time comes, I will split some good stuff. The super good stuff will be yours. Yihua nodded his head and agreed. After all, Jing Tiandi's Li fire would still be useful. Jing Tiandi quickly left. Jackdaw said softly, Prince Yi, do I need to do anything? No need. Yihua said indifferently and then disappeared. The news today was too shocking. I didn't think that the protectors would actually appear in the god's realm. What a surprise. Jackdaw took a deep breath. How am I going to explain this to the emperor? I don't know at all. However, when Yihua went to look for the protectors, something happened outside. Huang Li snatched Unparalleled. After snatching Unparalleled, Huang Li's eyes shone with a golden light, as if he was about to become a supreme being. When Huang Yin saw this, he was about to explode from anger. If Unparalleled ended up in Huang Li's hands, that would be the same as handing over the position of Crown Prince, and he would even suppress me in the future. So I definitely can't give Unparalleled to him, no matter what price I have to pay. Huang Li, this is what father wants. You actually snatched what father wants. How dare you? The sun and moon divine breath in Huang Yun's hand shone with a colorful light. It was beautiful, but it also carried a savage aura. Huang Li snorted. Huang Yun, since father wants it, then let me personally hand it to him. I think you want to keep it for yourself. Everyone listen up. Huang Li is trying to embezzle His Majesty's treasure. Kill him. Huang Yun couldn't care less. He stabbed out with the divine breath of sun and moon. The tip of the sword lit up the entire ground. Royal Cloud, how dare you kill me? Imperial Father will not let you off. Huang Li was not someone to be trifled with either. The huge saber in his hand swung out immediately. To think that it could contend against the sun-moon god breath in Huang Yun's hand seemed like this huge saber was no ordinary item either. Huang Li, a country has its laws, and a family has its rules. Even if a prince breaks the law, he will be punished the same as a commoner. Hand over the supreme. Humph. Huang Yun, do you dare to kill me? I am the eldest prince. You have no right to punish me. I am a meritorious person. You're just a person who snatches battle achievements. Huang Li's words provoked Huang Yun's heart. Now that Huang Li occupied the right time, place and people, as long as he went back, he would definitely be able to beat Huang Yun. His position as crown prince was in danger. Huang Yun didn't care so much. The sun and moon divine aura in his hand released a dazzling light. Huang Li's eyes narrowed. Huang Yun, how dare you? Huang Li, you won't be able to escape death. Huang Yun snorted. The two of them immediately started fighting. The soldiers below were all stupefied. Why did the two princes start fighting? Furthermore, they are getting further and further away from each other. However, the enemy's soldiers all retreated. Yi Yuanqing, who was standing on top of the city wall, finally understood what his big brother meant. He indeed didn't want to kill Huang Li, but Huang Yun wanted to kill Huang Li. What is big brother's brain made of? How did he manage to guess this? Right now, Huang Yun was purposely distancing himself from Huang Li. Because Huang Li had to die today. Huang Li had to die. I won't die. All of my glory will vanish into thin air. Ode to the scorching sun. Seeing that the distance between them was about right, Huang Yun didn't hold back anymore. The sun and moon divine aura in Huang Yun's hand emitted terrifying might, and the entire sky rumbled. Meanwhile, Huang Yun raised the sun and moon divine aura high up into the sky, and countless sword flowers immediately shot out from his hand. In terms of strength, Huang Yun was stronger than Huang Li, and it wasn't just by a little bit. After all, Huang Yun's talent was right there. Huang Yun, you are going to kill me. You are going to be killed by father too. A trace of fear appeared in Huang Li's eyes, because he felt that Huang Yun wasn't joking around, and Huang Yun really wanted to kill him. That won't happen, because you ran away with Wushang. Huang Yun said coldly. There wasn't anything strange about the sword flowers that Huang Yun stabbed out just now. In actuality, it was because Huang Yun's speed was too fast. But now, countless golden lights could be seen appearing in the sky, and along with a biting cold aura, the golden lights attacked towards Huang Li. The golden light's speed was so fast that Huang Li couldn't even react in time. Huang Li wasn't willing to give up, and he hurriedly used the large blade in his hand to block the golden lights. However, it was useless. Although the large blade blocked some of the golden lights, there were still a lot of golden lights. Huang Li's body was pierced through by the golden lights, and he looked at Huang Yun, who was in the sky, blankly. Huang Yun really dared to kill me. Huang Yun was forced to the point where he had no other choice. If Huang Li doesn't die today, in the future, it will be Huang Yun who kills me. Therefore, if Huang Li doesn't die today, in the future, it will be me who dies. Huang Yun slowly landed on the ground, and looking at Huang Li, who was kneeling on the ground, Huang Yun placed the sun and moon divine aura on Huang Li's neck. Huang Li, don't blame your little brother for being ruthless. It was you who blocked my path. Huang Yun, if there's anything, we can talk about it. I know that I was wrong. If you want Wushang, I will give it to you. If you want the position of the crown prince, I will give it to you. Whatever you want, I will give it to you. Please spare my life. Huang Li gasped for breath. Right now, the only thing that he could do was to beg for mercy. If not, this fellow will really kill him. Huang Yun revealed a sinister smile. Huang Li, what I want is very simple, and that is your life. If you die, the crown prince will be mine. The throne will be mine too. The entire world will be mine. You shouldn't have fought with me over it. No, listen. Before Huang Li could finish speaking, the world in front of him started spinning, and in the end, he saw that he was kneeling on the ground, and his head was already gone. Very quickly, Huang Li's primordial spirit appeared, and Huang Li fled for his life. However, Huang Yun stretched out his hand and pointed, and a stream of energy directly shot towards Huang Li's primordial spirit. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Huang Yun picked up Wushang, then burned the corpse with fire. However, he wasn't in a hurry to leave. Instead, he picked up Huang Li's weapon and cut his own body a few times, causing blood to flow nonstop. In the end, Huang Li's saber was destroyed as well. Just like that, Huang Yun returned with his last breath. However, after Huang Yun left, a figure appeared on the scene. It was Jackdaw. Jackdaw's expression didn't change much. He simply shook his head, seemingly regretful. On the battlefield, Yihua also returned. At this time, Huang Yun and Huang Li had yet to return. End of chapter. Chapter 1043. However, Yihua looked at Shi Yun, who was on the verge of death. This enemy of mine actually had half of his body sliced off by the blade light. He is truly too useless. Why did I die in the hands of a bunch of trash back then? They are truly trash. Everyone thought that this overlord had already died, but right now, everyone was celebrating their victory, and didn't even pay attention to what was happening over here. However, Yi Yuanqing, who was on the city wall, was looking at his big brother confusedly. However, Yihua's back was facing Yi Yuanqing, and he knew that Yi Yuanqing was looking at him. Yihua came to Shi Yun's side and slowly squatted down. Yi, Prince. Shi Yun let out a weak voice. Yihua said lightly, don't speak, your injuries are very serious right now. Prince Yi, please bring me to heal my injuries. I will definitely repay you in the future. Shi Yun begged lightly. As an overlord, as long as he still had a single breath left, then nothing would happen to him. Yihua sighed lightly. Your request, I cannot agree to it. Ah, why, for what? I am injured. Shi Yun was very confused. I didn't become enemies with Prince Yi. Why isn't Prince Yi willing to help me? It is also good to have an overlord as a friend. Yihua suddenly revealed a strange smile, then slowly lowered his head and said, look at my face, see clearly who I am. Yihua's face could be seen instantly turning into a skeleton. Shi Yun looked at the skeleton face in front of him and the red light in that pair of eyes. And he was completely scared silly. The scene from 10 years ago immediately replayed in his mind. Over 100 overlords went to kill the 8 of them. In the end, half of them died, and the other half were injured. This kind of battle situation couldn't even be concealed back then, because it was too embarrassing. But, didn't that skeleton die? Why did it appear? He is Yihua, and he is even a skeleton. What is going on? Looking at Shi Yun's frightened and despairing gaze, Yihua felt great from head to toe. Are you very curious why I am fine? And who exactly am I? You demon. Who exactly are you? Yihua laughed lightly, then changed back to his original appearance. Who am I? I am Yihua. I died back then, but I became a skeleton, undead. You should understand, right? After hearing that, Shi Yun's eyes widened. I didn't expect that. Back then, Yihua really died. However, they became the undead race, and brought calamity to the common people. And now, they actually came back to take revenge. You damned undead. You will be punished by the heavens, and will never be able to reincarnate. Yihua said faintly, You believe in the heavens, and the heavens believe in me. Look into my eyes and feel the blazing flames of hell. Yihua said slowly, and his pair of eyes turned into flames. However, Shi Yun didn't want to look at Yihua. He couldn't help but look over, only to see Shi Yun's pupils gradually turning into a lime-like substance, which then spread to his entire body. It was like a piece of charcoal being burnt by fire. Yihua looked at the enemy in front of him and laughed lightly. Along with this laugh, Shi Yun's body turned into dust and fused into the ground. Even his primordial spirit turned into dust. How terrifying! Yi Yuanqing saw it, but he didn't understand why his big brother wanted to kill Shi Yun, and he was very puzzled. Big brother didn't want to kill Huang Yun, but killed Shi Yun instead. This is so strange. Standing up, Yihua took a deep breath. Today is really a good day. However, at this moment, Huang Yun, who had just finished killing people, returned. Furthermore, he came back with serious injuries. General, what happened to you? Huang Yun used Sun and Moon divine breath to support himself, and said with difficulty, Huang Li concealed his strength and heavily injured me, then ran away with the treasure. After finished speaking, Huang Li actually fainted. Huang Yun wasn't faking it, he really fainted. The injuries on his body were very realistic. If not, he wouldn't have been able to deceive Father Emperor. Quick! Bring the general back to receive treatment. Yihua's brows tightly wrinkled. Huang Li ran away? How is this possible? Wasn't Huang Yun more powerful than Huang Li? Why did he end up like this? Could it be that I miscalculated? How is this possible? This shouldn't be. Just when Yihua felt that this shouldn't be happening, a voice suddenly rang out beside his ear. Soon after, Yihua sneered and looked at Huang Yun, who was being carried away. This fellow's acting skills aren't ordinary either. To actually be so heavy-handed towards me, as expected of someone who is capable of great things. But what a pity. Everything was still in the hands of the main body. Returning to the top of the city wall, Yihua patted onto his little sister's head. All right, let's go home. Big brother. Yi Yuanqing directly laid on Yihua's embrace and cried. Those officers and soldiers who fell onto the ground will never be able to stand up again. This was the first time that such a large number of casualties occurred. Yihua lightly caressed onto his little sister's hair and said softly, It's good that you were able to win. You have already saved more people. Big brother, just now why did you? Yi Yuanqing wiped away his tears and asked pitifully. Yihua let out a breath and said softly, That Shi Yun and I have enmity. Oh, is that so? Yi Yuanqing didn't continue asking. If there is enmity, one must take revenge. Pack up, we have to return. The entire city is going to celebrate for you, General Yi. Big brother, you are joking with me again. With so many people dying, what kind of victory is this? Yi Yuanqing was still very low profile. For us to be able to achieve this, it was all because of Big brother. Yihua smiled and didn't say anything anymore. And Yihua has to put on his armor and go through the motions again. I am truly speechless. After a few hours of counting, only 1 million soldiers were left behind to continue guarding the border, and everyone else returned to Lingdu. However, within Lingdu's imperial palace, Huang Feidi's expression was gloomy. He wasn't happy because he had obtained a complete victory, because he knew that everything was just an act. Yihua, that fellow actually didn't die. Furthermore, Yi Yuanqing even brought people with him and won. Huang Yun was heavily injured. Huang Li ran away with unparalleled. Your Majesty, this is worthy of celebration. You managed to repel a powerful enemy. Shan Junren, who was at the side, congratulated Huang Feidi. He still didn't know that this was just an act between emperors. Huang Feidi endured the pain in his chest and smiled. If not, this would be too fake. However, Shan Junren knew that the emperor's mood was definitely not good. After all, for the eldest prince to do such an immoral thing, it would harm the empire. If this matter were to spread out, the imperial family would be humiliated. Your Majesty. At this moment, Jackdaw's figure appeared in front of Huang Feidi. Huang Feidi slightly narrowed his eyes and asked, "Why? Why is Yihua still alive?" Jackdaw had already found an excuse, so he said softly, "Your Majesty, Yihua is a cunning person. I didn't even have the chance to kill him. If I had openly killed him, a bad situation would have occurred." Trash. You actually didn't grasp such a good opportunity. You are actually afraid. What are you afraid of? Huang Feidi cursed at Jackdaw, and his saliva even sprayed onto Jackdaw's face. End of this chapter. Chapter 1044. Jackdaw lowered his head and said nothing. However, who knew what kind of grievance he was feeling in his heart? A supreme being was actually being scolded like this. Even if it were two supreme utmost beings, they wouldn't spit at each other in such a manner. However, the reason why Huang Feidi dared to do so was mainly because he didn't know how to vent his anger. Shan Junren broke out in a cold sweat. Jackdaw is a supreme being. Your Majesty, you have to watch your words. If he gets angry, we're all screwed. After a long time, Huang Feidi slowly calmed down and asked, "What exactly is going on with the Huang calendar?" Jackdaw calmly said, "Huang Li stole Peerless, injured Huang Yun and fled." Huang Feidi appeared to be in disbelief after he heard this. But when he thought that it was supreme, and could indeed make people lose their rationality, his eldest son actually ran away. How embarrassing. Also, this time, Shanghai had actually gone back on their word. He actually stood her up. Don't even think about this empress acting with you in the future. Your Majesty, the troops are preparing to enter the city. Your Majesty should be preparing to welcome them. Shan Junren said respectfully. Huang Feidi smashed the teacup, snorted coldly, and walked out of the study. The two glanced at each other. Shan Junren hurried to catch up, while Jackdaw's lips curled into a sinister smile. He disappeared. Outside Lingdu City, all the soldiers had gathered and were tidying themselves up. After all, they were going to walk around the city and enter the palace to be praised by the emperor. Yuanqing, you are today's main character. Yihua said with a slight smile. Right now, both Huang Li and Huang Yun were not here, which meant that only his sister, who was a general, was left. Big brother, don't laugh at me. I didn't do anything at all. It's all because of you. Yi Yuanqing smiled gently. His big brother was so humble and kind now. He was so much better than before. He had almost forgotten what his big brother was like in the past. Yihua patted onto Yi Yuanqing's shoulder, then mounted onto the warhorse. He didn't walk towards the city gate, and instead, he let Yi Yuanqing walk at the front. In the future, if Yi Yuanqing wants to live here, he will need resources and reputation. He still had to go back. Yi Yuanqing knew that his big brother had a bitter heart, so he did not say anything and waved his hand. Millions of people began flooding into the city, and Yi Yuanqing, who was walking at the very front, was indeed very impressive. This kind of image was also deeply engraved into the hearts of the people. With a smile on his face, Yihua silently followed behind Yi Yuanqing. At this moment, at the entrance of the Qian residence, Qian Yi and Qian Yuqing also came out to congratulate the procession. After all, even the emperor wanted it, let alone others. This was also the rule of staying here. It was a pity that Huang Yun poked him dizzy and lost the best chance to raise his reputation. How sad. Looking at Yihua's figure, Qian Yuqing's heart was finally at ease. The heavens are truly blessing Yihua, not letting anything happen to him, and he is able to safely return to the city. Yihua also took a glance at Qian Yuqing, and the latter shrunk back, seemingly a little afraid of Yihua's gaze. As the group walked by, Qian said in a low voice, "Yuqing, Huang Li ran away this time, so the position of crown prince will definitely belong to Huang Yun. In the future, you will be the crown prince's concubine. Pay attention to your image and don't do what you did just now again." Qian Yuqing understood her father's meaning. She acted like a little girl just now. As the crown prince's concubine, she shouldn't act like this. Why didn't that damned Huang Yin just die? If Huang Yin died, then I wouldn't have to marry Huang Yin anymore. At that time, I would be able to be together with Yihua openly. How great would that be? However, I heard that Huang Yin was only injured. Qian Yuqing wished that she could go over right now and stab Huang Yin a few more times, causing Huang Yin to die completely. At the entrance of Yi family's house, Yi Shan brought along everyone and stood at the entrance. Of course, there was also Lu Jing, Daji, and the others. When Yi Shan saw his daughter riding on a war horse and slowly walking over, tears flowed down from his old face. This is a happy occasion for Yi family. My daughter has brought me face. However, when he saw Yi Hua who was at the back, Yi Shan's expression couldn't help but darken. This jinx, I hope that he doesn't implicate my daughter. When Lu Jing saw that her son had returned, she let out a heavy sigh of relief. This time, Yi Hua did not disappoint me. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother and revealed out a joyous smile. Just how am I supposed to learn big brother's posture? I am unable to learn it at all. Yi Juetian sneaked a glance at Daji who was supporting his mother. There was no progress at all during these few days. Daji is not interested in me at all. Thus, I can only come to a conclusion. This Daji doesn't like men. If not, how could she not like me? Yi Yuanqing naturally saw his father and mother as well as his little brothers, and he sighed in his heart. Thinking back then, I also stood among the crowd and looked at Big Brother riding on a war horse. At that time, I made up my mind that I want to be like Big Brother and obtain such an achievement. And today my dream has come true. However, this dream was also given to me by Big Brother. Big Brother is truly a good person. In my life, to have such a big brother is my good fortune that I have cultivated for several lifetimes. Yi Hua didn't even look at his biological father, and nodded his head towards his mother. Lu Jing also revealed out a gentle smile. She felt that the current Yi Hua could be considered to be sensible, and she felt rather gratified in her heart. Only such a Yi Hua can give others a sense of security. The group moved forward again, and very soon, they arrived at Shan family. Shan Yu stood among the members of the three families, and his expression was very strange. Looking at the surrounding people, they were all congratulating me for marrying a female general, and bringing honor to my ancestors in the future. However, behind my back, they said that in the future, I will look like I was beaten up by a woman, and this General Yi will be able to kill me with a single punch. Shan Yu was very gloomy. Having a fiancé like Yi Yuanqing is indeed a great honor, but I really don't like her. Whoever likes a tomboy like her will be unlucky. Yi Yuanqing immediately looked toward Shan Yu. This fiancé that the emperor gave to him. He actually didn't even take a look at me. Hee. Yi Yuanqing slightly raised her chin. If I am really going to marry over here in the future, I will first let these people know that I, Yi Yuanqing, am not someone to be trifled with. Yi Hua looked at his little sister's expression. What an adorable little fellow. Gradually, the group walked into the palace. Right now, Yi Hua had a question in his heart. Isn't it said that there are 3 big families in Lingdu? Other than Qian family and Shan family, who else is there? I didn't even see them coming out. I will ask Yi Yuanqing later. Huang Feidi looked at Yi family's siblings who were gradually walking over, and his chest was about to explode from anger. Both of my sons are not here, and today's limelight has been completely snatched away by them. Truly hateful. Yi Hua, just you wait for this emperor. In a few days, I will be marrying Qian Yuqing into the royal family. I don't believe that you don't have any feelings for Qian Yuqing. Let's see how you are going to endure when that time comes. As long as you dare to make a move, when the time comes, you will be charged with the crime of regicide, and your head will be directly chopped off. How satisfying would that be? Right now Huang Feidi revealed out a smile. Soon after, he opened up his arms and shouted, "Long live Lingdu." End of this chapter. Chapter 1045. Long live Spirit Capital. Long live your majesty. Long live Spirit Capital. Long live your majesty. Long live Spirit Capital. Long live your majesty. The cheers of 1,000,000 people could be heard throughout the entire Spirit Capital. The morale of the entire Spirit Capital instantly soared. and even the residents wanted to go to the battlefield. It was too hot-blooded. General Yi. This time, it was a meritorious service to defend Shanghai. Bestow upon him the title of Valiant General. Spirit grade, 5 jars of Spirit Spring. There was a difference between a general and a general. The only difference was the word big. Thank you, Your Majesty. Of course, Yi Yuanqing knew that as long as he married, all these titles would be gone. What great general! It was just a nice way to put it. Prince Yi, you've done a great service this time. Huang Feidi shouted with a smile. However, his tone didn't sound like he was celebrating at all. Instead, it sounded like he was gnashing his teeth, as if he couldn't wait to kill the other party. Yi Hua said faintly, "This can't be considered as a meritorious deed, it's just a small matter." Hearing what Yi Hua said, all of the officers and soldiers were stupefied. These are all small matters, then what is considered as a big matter? My God. There was a smile on Huang Feidi's face, but he was thinking in his heart. That's what you get for acting tough. Who asked you to be so arrogant? Prince Yi, whatever reward you want, this emperor will satisfy you. Is Your Majesty speaking the truth? Yi Hua looked towards Huang Feidi. With just a single glance, Huang Feidi felt that he was going to fall into Yi Hua's trap. At that time, it would be hard for Huang Feidi to back down. Huang Feidi smiled and said, Prince Ye's contribution cannot go unnoticed. I have to think about it carefully. All the soldiers will be rewarded. Congratulations again. After speaking, Huang Feidi turned around and left. Farewell, Your Majesty. Everyone respectfully bid farewell to Yi Hua, and only Yi Hua stood there without moving. This caused Huang Feidi to feel very gloomy. If not for the past, then right now, Yi Hua would have been able to make Yi Hua kneel down to him. Big brother, I'll go check the soldiers first, Yi Yuanqing said softly. Okay, then Big brother will go back first. Yi Yuanqing nodded and began to count the items. Meanwhile, Yi Hua had also changed into a set of black clothes. Wearing the black armor was not comfortable at all. Now go back and see your mother. However, at this time, Huang Feidi had rushed to Huang Yun's bedchamber, and the imperial physician was treating him. Huang Feidi walked closer to take a look. The knife wound was so deep that the bone could be seen. Wasn't this caused by Huang Li's weapon? There were several wounds like this on his body, and his abdomen was pierced. When did Huang Li become so powerful? Even I don't know. Could it be that Huang Li has hidden his strength? Father Emperor. Huang Yun, who was on the bed, let out a weak voice. It was really heartbreaking to hear it. Huang Feidi quickly took a step forward and asked with concern. Yun'er, how do you feel? Where do you feel uncomfortable? Imperial Father, your son is useless. I couldn't even protect the supreme that you wanted. Huang Yun immediately admitted his mistake. It was a very smart choice. Huang Feidi sighed softly. It's fine. But do you know where the calendar went? Father, Huang Li actually hid his strength and caught me off guard. He has now fled to Shanghai. As for his exact location, I don't know. Huang Yun started to talk nonsense. Huang Li's corpse and weapon had been destroyed, and the evidence had been cleaned up. He would never be able to find it in this lifetime. Hearing Huang Yun's words, Huang Feidi deeply sighed. After a while he said in a deep voice, Men! Emperor! Announce! The eldest prince disobeyed the order and injured his younger brother. His behavior is outrageous. Remove the imperial title. Arrest him and bring him to justice. Huang Feidi shouted in a deep voice. The supreme was snatched away by his eldest son. This was absolutely not allowed. Hearing his father say such words, Huang Yun felt relieved. It seemed like his father believed him. His efforts to get into the city were not in vain. He didn't even want the opportunity to enter the city, all for the sake of making his father believe him. Huang Yun was indeed a ruthless person. In order to obtain his father's trust, he would do anything. How did Shi Yun and the others die? Were they really killed with a single slash? Huang Feidi asked again. Recalling that slash, Huang Yun still had some lingering fear in his heart. Imperial Father, that was just an ordinary slash, yet it created a red saber light. However, before the saber light could even touch the saber light, the saber wind from the saber light killed all the supremes that father sent. Even their primordial spirits didn't have the chance to fly out. Hearing this, Huang Feidi tightly frowned. In his mind he was thinking, how could there be such a powerful weapon in this world? Even after searching everywhere, Huang Feidi didn't know of such a weapon. Who is that person? Imperial Father, that person seems to be the commander of that place. Huang Yun said weakly. Huang Feidi's gaze was grave. Killing over 20 Supremes with a single slash, I have to pay attention to this person. This kind of strength is too terrifying. Huang Yun, take good care of your body. In a few days you will be getting married, don't look so sickly. Huang Yun was overjoyed. Wedding. This is simply too great, I can marry Qian Yuqing now. However, Huang Yun quickly understood his father's intentions. He still wants to use Qian Yuqing to force Yihua. Imperial Father. Why was Yihua able to return safely this time? Didn't you arrange everything? Huang Yun asked puzzledly. Logically speaking, the things that father had arranged wouldn't be wrong. However, the things that father had arranged this time were all wrong. Didn't he say that the commander of that place would send himself to death? In the end, the commander of that place killed over 20 Supremes with a single slash. What the hell are you playing with? That guy is a freaking pervert. How could he possibly let me kill him? In fact, Huang Yun was even guessing in his heart that father might have intentionally said that, wanting me to send myself to death so that he could help Huang Li ascend to the throne. Such a possibility wasn't impossible. Let's not talk about this anymore. Imperial Father has his own arrangements. You just need to take good care of your injuries. Huang Yun nodded and didn't say anything else. Being able to marry Qian Yuqing could be considered as me taking revenge on Yihua. Just thinking about it makes me feel great. Although I can't kill your men, I can sleep with your women and let your women enjoy under me. Are you angry or not? Uncomfortable. Huang Feidi walked out of Huang Yun's bedroom and returned to his own bedroom to ponder. On the other side, Yihua had already returned home and directly went to his mother's courtyard. He first went to report to his mother that he was safe. Seeing that her son had immediately returned, Lu Jing felt happy in her heart. Mother, are there any problems these few days? Yihua asked lightly. He was getting more and more familiar with saying the word mother, and there wasn't a hint of awkwardness in it anymore. Lu Jing smiled and nodded. Don't worry, even if there are problems, isn't Daji still here? There's also me. Yi Juetian stood at the side and said while chuckling. Yihua nodded. It's good that you are fine. This emperor actually didn't make a move. From the looks of it, he doesn't dare to make a move in the city. After all, the commotion would be quite big. Huang Feidi indeed wanted to, but precisely because the commotion would be big, he decided not to kidnap Yihua's mother. End of this chapter. Chapter 1046. Mother, after a period of time, I will bring you out to play. Yihua had already decided that after he finished dealing with the matters here, he would bring his mother out. It was impossible for him to stay here, it was too dangerous. Lu Jing nodded her head, expressing that she would listen to her son's words. She also wanted to go out and see the world. I seem to have spent my entire life in this courtyard, and I haven't really gone out. Seeing that his mother agreed to it, Yihua became slightly more at ease. Soon after, he called Yi Juetian over to take a walk with him, wanting to ask him about the situation. Big brother, what's wrong? I originally wanted to ask you, didn't you say that there are 3 big families in Lingdu? Why hasn't the last family appeared yet? Yi Juetian pursed his lips and said, Big brother, the last family is actually not in Lingdu. Where is it then? Yihua asked curiously. I don't know either, they only appear once every year, and they are quite mysterious. It seems that even the emperor respects them a lot. However, I only heard about this from others. Yi Juetian's words made Yihua curious once again. I, the Supreme Overlord, like mysterious things. Because I, the Supreme Overlord, like mysterious things. No matter how mysterious you are, I will be able to cure you. Do you want to give it a try? There will be a discount for the top 3. You should at least know what their surname is, right? Yihua shook his head. This little brother of mine really doesn't know anything. Yi Juetian felt very embarrassed. This big brother is asking me. Yet I seem to not know anything at all. making me seem very useless. They are very mysterious. Although they are one of the 3 big families, other people don't care about this title at all. As for their surname, I have only heard about it before. It seems to be Donghuang, but I'm not sure. Yi Juetian lowered his head and said. From time to time he would sneak a glance at his big brother, fearing that his big brother would fly into a rage. However, Yihua did not fly into a rage. Donghuang? The same surname as my empress. This is a bit interesting. Back then, I heard that the Donghuang family intentionally let go of the Donghuang family. If that is the case, what is the meaning of this Donghuang family? F***CKME, things have become dramatic. If the 2 Donghuangs could be connected together, then there would definitely be an old drama of family hatred involved in this. As the Empress man, there was nothing wrong with avenging his wife, right? There should be nothing wrong with killing some people, and then inexplicably adding some crimes to it. There should be nothing wrong with exterminating the entire clan, right? This is a bit interesting. Then, when is this Donghuang coming back? Yihua asked curiously. I heard that they came last month, but it's just hearsay. We basically don't know about their arrival. We only know from the little eunuchs in the palace, but we can't be sure if it's true or not. After hearing that, Yihua was a bit disappointed. I have only just come over, and the next time I come over, I will have to wait for around a year. Isn't this too long? Big brother, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's talk about how we are going to deal with the emperor. This time, the emperor will definitely not let this go. Yi Juetian was a bit anxious, but if Yi Yuanqing was here, he definitely wouldn't be anxious. His big brother was now a brave and intelligent person, and he was even more powerful than before. I am just waiting for him to use his final move. That day it will definitely be very exciting. Yihua revealed out a mysterious smile, and this made Yi Juetian's appetite very much. Big brother, do you have a plan? Hurry up and tell your brother. Yihua knocked onto Yi Juetian's forehead. You can slowly think about it by yourself. I am going back to my room to rest for a bit. Oh, I'll call you when it's time to eat. Yihua replied lightly, then returned to his room. After changing his clothes, Yihua laid on his bed and began thinking about the problem. The feeling of thinking about the problem is rather good. In the past, I basically never thought about the problem, and I would just start killing the moment I get into a disagreement with the other party. No matter what kind of schemes the other party has, that is not the case now. Even if it is just killing the other party, there is still a lot of knowledge involved in it. To use a sentence to describe it, killing is also a kind of art, and I am currently developing towards this direction. While thinking about it, Yihua fell asleep. Inside his dream, Yihua dreamt of his sister-in-law. This little lass is actually tempting me. She is truly tired of living. It has already been many days since I last vented my lust. Today, I will have to trouble you, Tong. However, Yihua felt that the feeling of his sister-in-law's skin was a bit different today. Her skin is very tight, as if she is very nervous. Even her lips are trembling, and this tender moan doesn't seem to be coming from his sister-in-law. What the hell? I am in the god's realm, and his sister-in-law went out to play. How could she possibly go to bed with him? Then who is this woman? Yihua suddenly opened his eyes, and a face that was so beautiful that it could suffocate a person appeared in front of him. Isn't this Qian Yuqing? Right now, Qian Yuqing's beautiful face was completely red. Just now, she wanted to come over to take a look at Yihua, but she discovered that Yihua had fallen asleep, thus she didn't disturb Yihua. However, not knowing why, Yihua suddenly hugged onto me, then randomly touched onto my body, and even kissed me and touched onto that place of mine. So embarrassing. Looking at the person that was below him, the top half of the dress was torn off by me, and the spotlessly white and flawless skin was exposed to the air. The skin carried a faint fragrance, and the fragrance was very nice. Meanwhile, Qian Yuqing's appearance that seemed like she was allowing Yihua to do whatever he wanted, especially when she was biting onto her lips. It was simply extremely charming. Just like how if you don't dare to do something bad right now, then you would be worse than a beast. Miss Qian, please conduct yourself with dignity, Yihua said gravely. Qian Yuqing went into a daze. To actually tell me to conduct myself with dignity. Just now, it was clearly you who made the first move. Prince Yi, I have already touched and kissed. It is not appropriate for you to say such words, right? Qian Yuqing said indignantly. Just now, Yihua took advantage of me like that, and then said such sarcastic words. This is truly infuriating. Yihua said with a deadpan expression. If the crown princess didn't climb onto my bed, why would I have made the first move? Qian Yuqing, I have never seen someone who lies with his eyes wide open like this. Then, Prince Yi, is it exciting to have a clandestine love affair with the crown princess? Qian Yuqing had a temper too. You keep calling me crown princess. Don't you know that this is making me very sad? You clearly know that my heart is with you. And you are even provoking me like this. Yihua slightly narrowed his eyes. Crown princess, what are you trying to do? Prince Yi, if I were to shout out right now, I am afraid that everyone would know that Prince Yi is doting on the crown princess. By then, Prince Yi would probably not be able to continue living in spiritual capital anymore, right? Qian Yuqing said with a threatening tone. Yihua changed his tone and said coldly, You are threatening me. That's right. I am threatening you. I know that you have a lot of plans, but as long as I shout out, your plans will all be ruined. Yihua took in a deep breath and said coldly, You are already not the first woman who dared to threaten me. The women who threatened me were all killed by me. And I ked them until their souls left their bodies. Yes. Qian Yuqing wasn't afraid at all. Her pair of beautiful eyes stared fixedly at Yihua. However, a layer of mist gushed out from her beautiful eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 1047. To actually say that I am threatening you. Why would I, Qian Yuqing, threaten you? However, I am also forced to do so by you, Yihua. You only know how to harm me. Bully me. I, Qian Yuqing, do like you, but you can't trample on my dignity. Looking at Qian Yuqing under him. Tears were swirling in her beautiful eyes, as if they were about to flow out. Qian Yuqing, what do you want? Yihua asked in a deep voice. He felt a bit awkward. After all, Qian Yuqing's clothes were in a disheveled state right now, and she looked very comfortable. It has been a long time since my main body has vented out my fire, and right now, there is an undeveloped one, and that feeling will definitely be super great. But I am not that kind of person. You have to ask yourself that. You were the one who dragged me to the bed, kissed and touched me, and now you're saying such hurtful words. Do you still have a conscience? Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? Qian Yuqing didn't care so much anymore. The grievances hidden in her heart directly erupted. Looking at Yihua who was in front of her, Qian Yuqing hugged onto Yihua's neck and kissed him fiercely. This caused Yihua's eyes to bulge. This woman. He was actually so proactive. To actually invade my lips. Furthermore, you are even groping my body. This is too impudent. Enough. Yihua pushed Qian Yuqing away and said gravely. Along with Yihua's heartlessness, Qian Yuqing's tears instantly flowed down. Just now, I have already taken the initiative. Why are you so indifferent towards me? Could it be that you don't like me even a little bit? Looking at Qian Yuqing's sad face, Yihua's tone wasn't that cold anymore. He said, Go back and rest, I'm tired. After saying that, he pulled up Qian Yuqing's shirt. Damn, it felt really good. Qingya Donghuang Baiji, this is a delicacy that has been delivered to my mouth. I, the Supreme Overlord, am able to endure it. My loyalty to you too is also unprecedented. In the future, don't say that I'm a playboy. Qian Yuqing bit her lips so hard that her rosy lips turned white. You know what's going to happen next. I'm going to marry Huang Yun. Qian Yuqing said in a low voice. I know. Yihua said faintly. Qian Yuqing pushed Yihua away, then stood up with her back facing Yihua. Although you are heartless to me, I will only be loyal to you in this life. That night I will end my own life. After saying this last sentence, Qian Yuqing left. This time there was no hesitation. Yihua let out a deep sigh. Why is this woman so stubborn? The first thing she does is to cry, the second is to throw a tantrum, and the third is to hang herself. Right now she is actually using death to threaten me. All women in the world are the same. Yihua continued to lie on the bed and pondered. All the way until the night sky outside the window turned into day. Big brother. Big brother. Yi Juetian's hurried knocking sounded from outside the door. Yihua opened his eyes and woke up grumpily. It's so early in the morning. What are you shouting about outside for? Yihua shouted in a low voice. Big brother, bad news. The emperor has just decreed that sister-in-law will be married the day after tomorrow. Hearing that, Yihua went into a slight daze. Soon after, he let out a light "oh." Yi Juetian was puzzled. Big brother, sister-in-law is going to marry someone else, and you're just going to say "oh"? Don't you want to do something? Yihua stood up and slowly put on his clothes. Yi Juetian, who was outside, couldn't take it anymore, and directly pushed open the door and entered the room. Impudent! Yihua wrinkled his brows and shouted out lightly. He doesn't know the rules at all. Yi Juetian didn't care so much. Big brother, sister-in-law, you have to give me an explanation for this matter. What explanation do you want? Big brother, just what are you planning to do? If you are going to kidnap the bride, count me in. Yi Juetian patted on his chest. As long as Big brother says it, I will climb a mountain of swords and dive into a pot of oil. Yihua said faintly. Who said that I am going to kidnap the bride? I am not going to do such a lowly thing. Big brother. Then, what are you planning to do? I don't plan to do anything. Yi Juetian was speechless. Could it be that Big brother is just going to watch sister-in-law marry Huang Yin? With sister-in-law's unyielding temper, she will definitely do something foolish. Right at this moment, Yi Yuanqing's voice sounded out from outside the house. Big brother, Aunt Lu asked me to come and look for you. Without even needing to guess, Yihua knew that it was definitely because of Qian Yuqing's matter. Yi Juetian felt that right now, only mother would be able to persuade Big brother. Understood? Yihua said faintly. After tidying up a bit, Yihua walked towards his mother's courtyard. Big brother, the matter between you and sister-in-law. Before Yi Yuanqing could finish speaking, Yihua interrupted him. Don't mention about that matter. Oh, Yi Yuanqing said, feeling wronged. I was taught a lesson by Big brother early in the morning. Yi Juetian, who was at the side, was puzzled. What's so bad about sister-in-law? She loves Big brother so much, and furthermore, her looks are not any worse than those sisters-in-law. Furthermore, sister-in-law doesn't mind at all. What's so bad about having a wife like sister-in-law? If it was me, I would definitely be secretly happy. Not long later, Yihua arrived at Lu Jing's courtyard. Of course, he had to greet his mother first. Yihua, sit. Lu Jing said tenderly as she poured a cup of water for her son. Yihua sat beside his mother. He decided that no matter what his mother was going to say later on, he would remain silent and not say anything. Lu Jing looked at her son's gloomy look and laughed lightly. Yihua, the reason why mother called you over is not to force you to do anything. Yi Juetian and Yi Yuanqing were a bit puzzled. Right now, only you are able to force Big brother to do something. Upon hearing what his mother said, Yihua let out a breath of relief. I, the Supreme Overlord, hate being forced to do things by others the most. Yihua, you can decide for yourself about your feelings. However, I want to tell you that if you miss this opportunity, you won't get another one. Make a good decision. No matter what, you have to ensure Yuqing's safety. Do you understand? Lu Jing said lightly. She did not force Yihua to do anything. She just wanted Yihua to protect Qian Yuqing's life. Towards such a simple request, Yihua readily agreed to it. Lu Jing was very satisfied and did not say anything else. Yi Yuanqing, who was standing at the side, felt that there was a hidden meaning behind Aunt Li's words. It seems like Big brother has been tricked, but I can't feel what's wrong. They had won the war, and now it was time for Huang Yin and Qian Yuqing's wedding. The entire spirit capital was immersed in a sea of joy. Every household hung red lanterns to celebrate, making it seem like the new year. In the imperial palace, there were also lanterns and streamers, preparing for the future crown prince's wedding. This might be an unprecedented grand wedding. Huang Yin was very excited and wished that time would pass faster. At that time, being able to sleep with Yihua's woman would be a kind of achievement. Revenge. This is too great. Thinking about the scene of him sleeping with Qian Yuqing, Huang Yin became extremely excited. However, right now he still had to do something big, and that was to absorb the Supreme. To ensure his safety, Huang Yin secretly left Spirit Capital and ran to a place where there was no one around to absorb the Supreme. At that time, I will definitely make Yihua cry. End of this chapter. Chapter 1048. Time passed by quickly. Today. It was an important day for the royal family, the day of the 9th prince's wedding. Although the whole city was celebrating, there were still some rumors going around. Of course, it was regarding the history of Yihua and Qian Yuqing. They felt that the best partner for Qian Yuqing was still Yihua. At the start, only a small portion of the people were spreading these rumors, but now, it seemed that everyone was discussing this matter. However, Yihua, who was the main character, did not even leave his house. This made people feel that Yihua was autistic and was definitely secretly grieving at home. Within Qian residences, everywhere was filled with the atmosphere of celebration, but this kind of celebration gave people a feeling of desolation. Within Qian Yuqing's bedroom, right now, Qian Yuqing was wearing a red wedding gown. There was no expression of happiness on her face. If it wasn't for makeup, her face would definitely be pale right now. Last night, Qian Yuqing had been waiting for Yihua to come over. As long as Yihua said a word, she would be willing to do anything and accompany him to the ends of the world. However, even after she wore the wedding gown, Yihua's figure still did not appear. This made Qian Yuqing feel despair. Yihua doesn't want me anymore. Yihua has completely forgotten the promise he made back then. Since that was the case, Qian Yuqing knew what to do. Yihua, no matter how heartless you are, Qian Yuqing will only be yours in this life. Miss, it's time. The maid outside called out softly. Qian Yuqing took a deep breath and wore the red veil. A vague sense of beauty immediately blossomed out. As expected of the most beautiful woman in the god's realm, this kind of hazy beauty is something no one can compare to. Qian Yuqing opened the door. Other than the maid, her father was also outside. Seeing that her daughter opened the door, Qian Yi revealed a gratified expression. This day is very important. If my daughter breaks the promise of marriage, then Qian family will be finished. Fortunately, my daughter is sensible. Qian Yi nodded towards her daughter, then turned her back towards her daughter and slightly bent down. In Lingdu, when a woman got married, her father would carry her out from the bedroom. Qian Yuqing clenched her teeth, then laid on her father's back. Back then there was a time. However, the person she got married to changed. Yihua, you are too heartless. Outside the Qian residence, the wedding procession had already arrived. The one leading the procession was naturally Huang Yin. A festive red robe matched Qian Yuqing's, representing the auspicious dragon and phoenix, symbolizing a bright future. The dowry was also taken out one by one from the Qian residence, causing the surrounding people to exclaim in surprise. As expected of the Qian family, this dowry was truly generous. Huang Yin was riding on a bright red warhorse. Those who didn't know better would think that it was just an ordinary horse. However, this wasn't the case. This was a primordial divine beast, Rainbow Tai. This was the most docile prehistoric divine beast. This horse would be used during imperial weddings as a good omen. Huang Yin looked at the entrance of the Qian manor. These past few days had felt like years. After waiting for so long, this day had finally arrived. Today was the day of the wedding. He would be able to sleep with the most beautiful woman in the deity's realm, Yihua. How would you feel? I really want to capture you and place you next to me. I want you to personally see your woman enjoying herself under me. That should be very exciting, right? With such emotions, Huang Yun's expression became a little strange. The people standing around were also discussing in low voices. I really hope that Prince Yi can stand out. I will definitely support him. That's right, I also support Prince Yi to come and snatch the bride. That's right, I heard that in the war this time, the 9th prince was defending at the very end, sending Prince Yi to his death. In the end, he even ran out to snatch the credit. I also heard about this matter. I don't know if it is true or false. You guys still don't know. One of my cousins saw it with his own eyes. Sigh. Why would the most beautiful woman in our deity's realm marry this kind of man? What a pity. What can we do about it? He is the imperial family. Although the voices of the surrounding people were very soft, Huang Yin still heard it. His originally strange expression became even more distorted. If not for today being a joyous day, I would have captured all of these people and beheaded them. They actually dare to gossip behind my back. After I ascend to the throne, as long as they dare to gossip about me, I will burn them all to death. A bunch of unruly commoners. At the entrance of the Qian family, Qianyi finally appeared with Qian Yuqing on her back. This made Huang Yun's mood slightly better. I finally came out. When the surrounding people saw that Qian Yuqing had come out, they all sighed. She has been married twice. And in the end, she actually received such an ending. As a member of the imperial family, Huang Yun did not get down from the horse. Qianyi carried Qian Yuqing on her back and arrived at the wedding carriage at the back. The carriage was huge. A total of 50 robust men were carrying the carriage, and red muslin was scattered all over the place. Qianyi placed her daughter on the seat and said lightly, "Yuqing, don't worry." Qian Yuqing did not say anything and nodded her head. Qianyi took one last look at her daughter, then got down from the wedding carriage. Reluctance could be seen in her eyes. After sending off my daughter twice, I hope that I will be able to successfully send off my daughter this time. The procession did not leave in a hurry, and they were waiting for the auspicious time. After a long time, the auspicious time has arrived. Dong dong dong. The sound of gongs and drums suddenly rang out, and the sound immediately resounded throughout the entire spiritual capital, telling everyone that the most beautiful woman in the entire deity realm was going to marry into the imperial family. Meanwhile, inside the imperial palace, the procedures for the wedding had all been arranged. The imperial family's wedding was held outside of the imperial palace, and the person who was sitting on the platform was naturally Huang Feidi. Yi Hua's figure was also at the right side of Huang Feidi. The person who was sitting on the right side of Yi Hua was naturally Shan Junren, the prime minister. Yi Shan and Yi Yuanqing were both sitting on the official seats. However, everyone felt that the atmosphere was different, and they felt that something big was going to happen today. Everyone was guessing whether or not Prince Yi would kidnap the bride. And if the bride was kidnapped, the emperor would have an excuse to do so. Yi Shan was also worried about this. If this unfilial son were to kidnap the bride, Yi family would be finished as well. Although his daughter was already a great general, this kind of position was practically non-existent. When the time comes for her to get married, everything would be gone. Right now, Shan Junren was also very worried whether or not Prince Yi, who was beside him, would revolt later on. One must know that the emperor had already arranged everything. As long as Yi Hua dared to say a word of no, countless people would rush out from all directions. And this Prince Yi could be considered to have reached his limit. Today, Huang Feidi's gloomy expression was completely swept away, and his face was brimming with joy. Looking at Yi Hua's cold face, Huang Feidi felt that Yi Hua was forcefully putting on an act. When your woman is going to get married, I don't believe that you will be able to endure it. Yi Hua sat quietly, completely not taking this matter to heart. Instead, he was thinking about that guardian. Of course, there was also that Donghuang surname. I thought that the guardian with the surname Donghuang would appear for the imperial family's wedding today, but in the end, I was a little disappointed. The guardian didn't even come. End of this chapter. That you're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.